The process was successful, and Gara became a Jinchuriki, human beings who have powerful tailed beasts trapped within them. Gara's beast was Shukaku, a giant tanuki with power over sand.
Oh, I want a tanuki as a pet. They're so fluffy and adorable, you just want to hug. Holy shit, what is that?
Shukaku loathed humanity, and at first, Gara had difficulty controlling the monster's rage, accidentally hurting others. As such, he was shunned by his own people, forced to live a secluded life.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's got a goddamn tummy monster. It's not like Pepto-Bismol solving that.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Rollin' 20s. We are the show that heard about the recent news between Sony and Marvel. Your move, Fox. I am Jeremy.
Jesse?
And V.
Remember, you can subscribe to this show and several others in the MSP library at missionstarpodcast.com. You can like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on iTunes, and on Stitcher. You can follow us on Twitter at the Rolling 20s. You can send us any fan mail, suggestions for the show, or hate mail at mspfreight@yahoo.com. The theme music you heard at the beginning of the show is by Machine Supremacy. You can find most of their discography for free download at machinesupremacy.com, as well as their latest couple of albums on amazon.com. The clip you heard at the beginning of the show was a clip of Death Battle by Screw Attack. You can find their videos either on YouTube or at their website, screwattack.com. How are you doing this weekend?
I am slowly getting over what I had 2 weeks ago.
I would argue you haven't gotten over crap. You know, it sounds about the same as when it started.
Oh, it's a lot tamer now.
Oh, okay. Did you use the whip or the chair?
My secret.
Okay. You went all 50 Shades of Grey on his cold. How about you, V? How are you doing?
All right, adjusting to a graveyard shift schedule.
Ooh, that's
joys.
never good.
It's so weird. I have energy at like all times of the day now, and my perception of time is just off. Today is tomorrow. Tomorrow is the day after I sleep.
Well, that just proves you're an honest gamer, V. I mean, after all, we found out sun is apparently your kryptonite. Crap. I was hoping to go through my storage space and find some old collectibles that I plan on taking to the swap meet at Fanime. Problem is, the person who agreed to do it with me, she has a full schedule this weekend. She works retail. And this weekend is a big weekend for shoppers, which is probably why I haven't been near a mall. I don't know if it's my age or because the demographics of malls have changed, but I just don't find them as interesting as I used to.
Yeah, me either.
You know, pretty soon I'll be waving a cane and telling those stupid kids, stay off my lawn!
The only mall I like is the Mall of America.
That's the one with the roller coaster?
I've never actually stepped inside. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's the one with the roller coaster inside. It's huge. It's fun to walk around in because it's huge.
I spent a while playing Destiny this afternoon, and I happened to get on a team with 2 Brits, another black guy, and 2 kids. And boy, the conversations were funny. One guy actually asked me how old I was, and I said, I said, I'm 37. How old are you? And the guy says, I'm 39. Okay, are you married to an Irish redhead and have 3 kids? No. Gotcha beat. You know, then the conversation about black Irish children came up, and, you know, it just kind of took sideways turn from there. The read this week was the latest issues of Deathstroke 1-4 by DC Comics. We found out some recent things have happened to the character that made it sound pretty interesting. We'll see if that holds true. In the meantime, we'll start with the Kickstarter corner. We still have a few items left in it. First off is one that's going to be ending fairly soon. Wilderness Adventures, a 28mm scale fantasy gaming terrain. This is by FatDragonGames.com. They came up with a printable landscapes that you can make in cardstock and then put little figurines on them to enhance your D&D adventures, or just drive your players insane, depending on how you look at it. They have all kinds of setups right now, including mountains, trees, obelisks. We see they've got a sphinx, they've got forts, they've got villages. This Kickstarter ends in 8 days on February 23rd. It has 425 backers. The goal to get this started was $1,000. Currently sits at $30,536. This made some serious cash for these guys who did almost nothing but design terrain. It's brilliant in its simplicity.
Right? I'm surprised that no one's done this already, actually.
I know.
They did back in the 80s.
Did they do these kind of terrains back in the 80s? Or
no, I remember putting monster trucks because of the way they're doing these terrains.
Well, the guys I knew had terrains. They had dedicated tables and built all this, that flower sculpting material that you can make, 5th grade dioramas out of.
Oh,
as soon as you were done with them,
I've seen those too.
As soon as you were done with them, you didn't save them or unfold them and put them away. You just kind of hit them with a hammer, threw them off the table, and then started building the new one.
I see my dad put those together with a HO track he put in our garage.
Oof.
I was 7 when he was doing that, so...
Oh, they've got a whole bunch of stuff here. They even have airship designs.
Neat.
Airship, nautical ships. Looks like dwarven forges and a few other ideas they've got here. The higher level rewards are at $90 or more. You get all the prior reward levels, and you get to select your own custom inscription for the ruins included in the Woodland set. They do reserve the right to reject any names that would be inappropriate for publication, so you couldn't have Ass Clown the Magic Dwarf, I guess. You also get a special exclusive version of the dragon statue from that set, and you'll be listed in each set as a project producer. That's just for $90. Usually people want 4 figures for you to get producer credit.
Right?
But you can get it on this cheap. And still going on is the regular sale of the Accent Wear cat ear headphones. You currently get them for $170 a pair. That does include tax and shipping. You can get them in red, green, purple, or blue. And they will drop ship it directly to your house.
I want it, but I don't understand why I want it. It's...
So you can sit there and play Destiny with it piping through your ears and over your head and annoying everybody else in the room. I get it.
Like I said, those things are probably fun at conventions.
If you do buy one of these and wear it at a convention, I will have a demand that all the time you wear them, you have to end every sentence with meow. I just want to see you go through with that. Yes, hell yes.
Meow.
But the cat ear speakers are fully functional. They have 40 millimeter drivers with 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz frequency response. Over the ears cushion that molds around the head, a removable 3.5 jack with mic and USB charger included, and bright LED accent lights in both the ears and on the speakers. I didn't know these had a mic as well. You could use these for gaming.
Oh, shit.
Oh, now he's going to buy one.
I might.
And wouldn't that be weird, though, if you're sitting there playing Warcraft, somebody doesn't know, walks by and says, "What are you wearing?" My earphones. What are you doing? Playing Warcraft. Seriously, what are you doing with those? All of a sudden he clicks over the ears. I'm playing Warcraft. And 5 different voices go, who are you talking to? I could see him doing that, too.
Not Warcraft. I gave up that game years ago.
Last crowdfunder we have is a Kickstarter for Exploding Kittens by Elon Lee.
Exploding Kittens.
I really hope you guys have listened to last week, because if not, that statement's going to sound completely odd. Exploding Kittens is a new creative card game where the most devastating card in your deck is Exploding Kittens. You can use different cards to defuse the kittens, including laser pointers, kitten therapy, catnip sandwiches. You have special add-on cards, including taco cats, chimichangas, cheetah butt, weaponized back hair. I am not kidding. This Kickstarter currently has just 4 days to go. It ends on Thursday, February 19th. Has 157,895 backers. The goal to get this printed and start producing it was $10,000. Too bad for them. They have $6,276,627.
People like exploding kittens.
Oh, hell yes, we do. There's only a few days left, but I'm contemplating getting a deck just because I am that goddamn intrigued. You know, I mean, the $6 million figure, that's one thing. These people are over 10,000% funded, which is just insane. They're also one of the highest Kickstarters I've ever seen, and I was following the Plan Number 9 Kickstarter. This surpassed that by over $2 million. Let me see. They have 150,000 backers. They have the most back campaign ever. They have 50,000 Twitter followers, 10,000 Facebook likes. This is a serious thing out there on the internet, apparently.
Exploding kittens.
Yeah, they even had goals for people to send in weird stuff, and they apparently have 25 pics of magical enchiladas. They have 25 pictures of real taco cats. 5 photos of weaponized back hair. I'm almost afraid to find out what the fuck they're talking about. They have a picture of 50 people wearing cat ears, 25 pictures of potato cat, 25 pictures of beard cat, a picture of 5 Spider-Mans and 1 kayak.
Okay.
I cannot describe that. I don't know what the frick they're talking about, and quite frankly, I don't want to look.
Yeah, me either.
But this does sound like fun. I mean, it's so new. I can imagine like bringing this to a convention, plunking it down on a table in a tabletop gaming room, and a bunch of people going, "What's with the exploding kittens?"
Yeah.
Then you have to explain yourself.
This is probably going to be like more popular than Munchkin.
Couldn't be as bad as Cards Against Humanity.
It might be the first thing we say to like people over the computer that might actually get us arrested. Dude, I'm going to go play a game of exploding kittens. 5 minutes later, SWAT's kicking down your door.
Well, it's not exploding children, so...
Yeah, but the triggers in this country are so damn bizarre. We will move into video game news. And the first one actually starts with a quashed rumor. A couple days ago, I heard about a rumor that was talking about a potential expansion to the new Super Smash Bros. For Wii U. Mm-hmm. And the DLC was supposed to add a new character that had never been discussed before, to anyone's knowledge, Rayman. The character of Rayman was supposedly going to be added to the game. Well, IO9's Mike Fahey, just earlier today, posted an article about how to create a convincing Smash Brothers Rayman leak. It turns out that the person who leaked the story didn't just leak that it was fake. He put up a video on YouTube explaining how he made the leak. He actually created original Smash-style art for both Mewtwo and Rayman, reusing art that would be and he didn't reuse art, that would be a giveaway. He actually created brand new art, and he approached the moving backgrounds of the character in the select menu and made sure the menu highlights were pulsing appropriately. He made all these little details in the video just to fake people out. The creator of the leak, Omni, has no plans to create additional leak videos, that he'll admit to. So he had the internet rolling for a while there.
That's what we call a troll.
Troll nothing, man. He just created it for the sake of creating it. I'm not sure he expected it to go viral like it did. It's probably why he put out the video. Look, you guys know this is stupid, right? So he just decided to explain himself. At least he explained it instead of just sitting there snickering like a lot of people do. You know, I told everybody a celebrity was dead, and they're all buying it. Hee 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 hee.
And to the proposed dead celebrity says, "I am not dead."
I still don't play League of Legends. Anybody?
I have played it. I'm familiar with it.
Okay, the League of Legends Championship Series was just beginning. And it's an esports event that's already been hit with a scandal. And it just started as of the 9th. The manager of a well-known team threatened one player's mother so he wouldn't try to leave when he tried to quit.
What?
What?
Okay, the team in question, the esports team is called Meet Your Makers. It's a German esports organization. They have only one 5-person team for League of Legends. That's their only team right now, okay? Shortly before the championship series was set to begin last month, a Meet Your Maker team member, his nickname is Corey, his name is Marcin Wolski. He suddenly stepped out of the competition, and that drew some attention from esports followers because it happened very close to the start of the LCS. So his team is down a man, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Wolski returned to his former position in early February, but his quick turnaround has more eyebrows raising. Now, what apparently has happened according to the Daily Dot and Esports Heaven, Wolski tried to leave Meet Your Maker in January because he was unhappy with current management, and he wanted to move to another team called Team Roar. And both websites report that Wolski said he had received several months' worth of pay from something called Super Hot Crew, a team he participated in last year's championship series with. And his current and former team are currently two different organizations. Now, Wolski said he was owed several months of pay from his time in last season with Super Hot Crew, and Meet Your Makers denied any responsibility for the payment, stating that they were to be handled by something called AK3 GmbH and their CEO, Sasha Ackerman, who owned Super Hot Crew at the time. But here's the thing. The management company, AK3, and Meet Your Makers are linked. Former and current Meet Your Makers staff are AK3 employees. Talking to one is like talking to both. Apparently they didn't pay him. He decided to leave. And the manager of the company, this guy named Rotterdam, recorded the call. And the manager of Meet Your Maker became furious and started to threaten Corey and intimidating him to stay on the team. He apparently was even banging against the wall in frustration during the call, and he tells Wolski that finding a replacement will cost the team $50,000, and his departure could cost him championships. Rotterdam said he would make sure Wolski's mother will lose the house since she is the one who signed her son's contract to join the team.
Huh?
Okay.
I'm going to guess Wolski is probably around 16, 17 or anything if he's going to threaten his mother over contracts.
Yeah.
Man, I didn't know League of Legends could get so damn contentious. Maybe this is just one psychopath and everything.
Oh,
but still.
No.
No,
It's pretty bad. That's why
Yeah,
I don't
no.
play it. I tried playing it before, but yeah.
Yeah, no. Like, the people that play that get super competitive, and it's I don't know, it seems to awaken the worst in humanity.
Jeremy, you made a good decision not to play that game.
Yeah.
I don't find MOBAs interesting. That's just my personal feeling about it. It sounds like he's back on the team. I don't know if they worked it out or because the recording was released, this guy had to backtrack a bit and maybe management's making a change, but it sounds like they're back together. I wonder if that's for better or for worse. Oh, there's a longtime Ubisoft producer named Jade Raymond. She quit the company in October of last year after a decade producing games of Assassin's Creed and Splinter Cell. In an interview, she actually detailed why she left. She said, quote, "I joined the game industry because I like change. I definitely had a great time at Ubisoft and a lot of great opportunities to evolve. But I was feeling in my comfort zone, and I like to push myself out of that. I'd been there for 10 years, which is a pretty good chunk of time, so it felt like it was time to give myself a kick in the pants." Unquote.
Looking for a new challenge, huh? All right.
Yeah, it's kind of usually women in video games, when they quit suddenly, you tend to hear about the short shrift. It sounds like she got everything she was looking for initially.
Yeah. I
Right,
can
she
imagine.
started remaking the same damn game.
Yeah. You can imagine what, V?
I can imagine, getting tired of doing exactly that, making the same game over and over and just wanting to go do something different.
Yeah, I'm not faulting it. I just didn't expect it is all. Let me see. NetherRealm has opened up about the upcoming Mortal Kombat X game. And they said they would be producing females with more realistic proportions than they did in 2011's Mortal Kombat reboot. Is that really important when the game's focus is really about ripping out spines instead of what anyone looks like in it?
Yeah.
What people look like is important. I like vanity.
I don't know why a more realistic look is necessarily important. You're talking about a game where ninjas throw hooks out of their hands and rip off their faces to incinerate them.
Hey, I like realism.
Then why play Mortal Kombat?
Well, fair. I do play Soul Calibur, though.
Okay.
Yeah, that's realistic.
Yeah, I'm not looking for realism in that either. I'm just
No.
looking to swing something. I'm not looking for realistic.
Yeah.
If I was looking for realistic, I'd put down the controller and see what everyone's staring at on the TV.
UFC.
Oh, we'll talk about that realism. Anybody here play the Dissidia games for Final Fantasy?
Nope.
Nope.
It's a series of games that have generally been on the PSP and a couple other lower platforms in regards to taking various characters from the Final Fantasy series and pitting them against each other in fighting.
Sounds interesting.
And, well, here's the thing that kind of brought that back into prominence. Square Enix has announced, or Square Enix of Japan anyway, has announced that Dissidia is moving from the mobile platforms to the arcade.
Oh.
Interesting.
They produced a video trailer.
Show
Hang
it.
on, I'll send it. Don't yell at me.
Ow.
There it is. Spitting Final Fantasy letters in front of it. Looks like the Mind Gem from the Infinity Gauntlet. Okay, I see a bunch of images from prior Dissidia games. Music is way too zen for a fighter.
Right?
It's perfect for Final Fantasy.
Arguably, after 14, perfect to put you to sleep. The lone hero in the field with the castle in the background.
It's pretty.
I wonder if it's going to be like anything like not Golden Axe.
Oh, there's some game footage. Holy crap. This was frantic.
Oh, I know who she is.
And there's lightning. And they're definitely pulling characters from all eras of Final Fantasy for this one.
Yep.
God damn.
So far I haven't seen anything past 6. Never mind.
I'm kind of wondering here if any of these characters found the Dragon Balls, frankly.
So I guess this is going to be a fighting game then, yes?
Yeah, that's what Dissidia is. It's kind of like the all-star fighting game for Final Fantasy fans. And it might be worth a look.
The alternative to playing Kingdom Hearts.
There's an alternative? Next up in video game news, there is a new world record for catching the original 151 Pokemon quickly.
Pikachu.
Okay.
Yeah, a speedrunner known as Shenanigan Smash. He's a 21-year-old guy from Ohio. He made use of a few glitches so he didn't have to trade Pokemon between 2 different games.
Oh.
But he did a legitimate speedrun, and within 2 hours, 20 minutes, and 19 seconds, he captured all 151 original Pokemon. He did something called DSUM manipulation. It lets players control what kind of encounters they get. Because encounters in the original Pokemon games are not random, at least not completely. I'm not familiar with this.
I'm fairly unfamiliar with Pokemon.
I have very low interest in this.
Considering how many hours I spent on the first 2 Pokemon games, 2 hours and 20 minutes, holy crap.
Yeah.
That is very fast.
I'm guessing this is a PC game?
Handheld,
No,
Game Boy.
The original Pokemon was Game Boy.
Oh, okay.
Although there's probably an emulator because it looked like it was streamed. So, wow. Now I feel like I wasted those 30 hours. Last up in video game news, there's a couple stories of, some studios don't do well. And when they do, they have to let people go. There was one story that came out of a major publisher that let a bunch of people go in probably the worst possible way. The person who put up the story is unnamed, but as he puts it, it was the pizza party from hell. Quote, the testers at a major publisher had just finished wrapping up testing on a project we'll call BioLands. And to congratulate them, the man in charge arranged a huge bowling and pizza party for the end of the week. Of course, everyone is hyped for the event. So the day finally arrives and all the testers show up. They all start bowling and eating pizza. After a few hours of everyone enjoying themselves, the VP asks for everyone's attention. When he does manage to get the team to listen, he begins to thank them for their hard work and has the leads hand them their termination papers. After that event, the crew could no longer throw events without scaring everyone to death. Quote.
Wow.
Thank you so much for your hard work in a successful game. Here's your sign.
That sucks.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
I couldn't even contemplate going to a party and then immediately getting fired at the party. That's one way to tell everyone that you're spending too much of my money on beer. Holy crap! That's actually more heartless than I ever could have thought about when I originally found the story.
Yeah.
I feel sorry for everybody. This sucks. Okay, we'll move from there into Marvel media news. We talk about the Marvel projects that don't land on the comic book page. First off is the 800-pound gorilla in the room that everyone's been talking about since around Tuesday. Sony Entertainment has made a deal with Marvel to allow Marvel to control the future of the Spider-Man films.
Control or borrow?
Control. The deal basically states that Marvel will write and produce, as well as cast, the next Spider-Man movie, which gives them total control over the making of it. Sony will continue to control the name rights, the distribution, and they have final say over the creative process. Something tells me, though, Sony is not going to want to step in the way of the money train.
Yeah.
But this deal also includes the fact that Spider-Man will apparently appear first in Captain America Civil War, and then afterwards, Marvel is going to put out the next Spider-Man film, which will be a reboot, another reboot.
Oh.
But this time it's controlled by someone with the larger franchise in mind.
Yes, this will be controlled by Marvel and Kevin Feige, and they say that for this one, we aren't going to have an older Peter Parker. This Peter Parker will still be in high school.
Oh,
Cool.
so they're going back to like the first one.
Going back
not
to
the first movie, per se. They're going back to the drawing board. In other words, they saw how Sony's 2 went. They went okay, but they want something obviously that fits within their canon.
Yeah.
And something tells me 25-year-old Spider-Man wouldn't be quite as interesting.
15-year-old Spider-Man would be.
Well, it does add another wrinkle to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because if you think about it, they haven't produced a movie yet that involves a teenage character.
Yeah, like all their characters are in their 30s or late 20s.
Yeah. So this gives them a new avenue to pursue. Let alone if they start dealing with some of their lesser-known characters, the current characters like Nova would be around this age. So
Yeah.
there may be more going on here than I'm thinking of. So I saw on Facebook when people just said, so long, Avia Rod, we won't miss you. Your move, Fox. A couple other people said that the addition of Spider-Man Marvel would somehow ruin Spider-Man in movies, and I don't know where that came from.
Yeah, I don't understand.
I think people
why
are
they
just
think that.
complaining about things to just complain about it.
I'm freaking thrilled because this means that all we're missing is Wolverine, and Marvel would have all the rights to do the new Avengers. But this also means that Andrew Garfield is apparently out of the project. They are looking to cast a younger Spider-Man. There is a report, though, that the Sinister Six and Venom movies Sony were planning are still on the table.
Huh.
I don't know if Marvel has a hand in those, though. It could be that Sony's continuing that on their own. If you were allowing Marvel to do a reboot, I don't know why you continue with those two projects.
Yeah.
You would probably save money just by releasing them, canceling the contracts, paying out what little cancellation fees you have, and then just sit back and let Marvel work.
Let Marvel do all the work.
Why not? You're picking up the distribution rights. That means you get money from every DVD sales, and as soon as this is connected to the Marvel Universe, there will be DVD sales.
It's going to explode.
Yeah. Just like people's heads did when they announced that Spider-Man is back in the Marvel Universe. As long I would almost mark out if at the beginning of the movie they started using like the 70s Spider-Man theme.
Oh.
The old cartoon.
I've never seen that.
Oh, it's wonderfully cheesy, complete with trumpets and horns.
Yep.
It's so horrible, you're almost wondering if a giant robot's going to come crashing in the side of the screen or something.
Sometimes it happens.
Doombot. But we do have some Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. news, too.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, first off, Adrienne Palicki. She's been the one that's been part-timing it on the series as Bobby Morse, a.k.a. Mockingbird. For season 3, her contract's been upgraded to series regular.
Ooh.
Oh.
I like her.
And there's a synopsis for the season premiere called Aftershocks. Has everyone here caught up on the series?
Yeah,
Yep.
I saw as of mid-season finale, I'm caught up.
Oh, thank God, finally. Okay.
Steve hasn't, though, but he's not here.
He's not here.
Well, screw him. Okay, here's the synopsis for Aftershocks, which is going to start off, I think, in March. Quote, after discovering an alien city with ties to his resurrection, Coulson and his team destroyed it before the forces of Hydra could claim its secrets, eliminating the villainous Whitehall in the process. But new threats to the world have arisen, including Sky's father, Cal, who now seeks retribution against Coulson for stealing his revenge against Whitehall. A disturbing alliance between former S.H.I.E.L.D. Agent Ward and Agent 33, the enigmatic Reyna, who struggles with her transformation into something inhuman by the alien obelisk and seeks vengeance, and Sky, who developed mysterious new powers from the obelisk, but whose lack of experience with her new abilities may threaten the safety of those she loves. Meanwhile, Bobby and Mac begin the next phase of a plan which seems to have grave repercussions for Coulson and his team, who are unaware that there's another mysterious force moving against them. And, as Hunter is forced to make the biggest choice of his life, Coulson will find his mission threatened by the shocking endgame. In the mid-season premiere Aftershocks, Coulson's team must deal with the consequences of their war with Hydra as shocking revelations threaten to tear them apart, and Hydra makes a dangerous move that may involve a traitor in S.H.I.E.L.D.'s midst. Unquote.
Yay!
More drama.
Any votes for who the traitor could be?
Probably one of the two. Probably that one guy that has been talking to.
Was it?
Not Simmons, but the black guy that's been talking to Fitz. Yeah.
Mac?
Oh, Mac. Mac, the mechanic.
That's my bet so far.
My bet is kind of leaning toward what was the guy that used to be married to Mockingbird?
Hunter.
I'm not getting the vibe from him.
Yeah, that's Hunter.
Yeah.
I'd almost be willing to go out the box and say it'd be Fitz.
Yeah,
that was my second choice, actually.
Yeah, actually, that's a good second choice. It could be Fitz, or because he's got all brain weird.
Brain weird? If I ever go to the doctor and he tells me I got brain weird, I'm killing myself.
Well, I think it's going to be something unexpected. So it's going to be like Fitz or Simmons or Agent May.
Well, May would just turn the whole series on its head. You'd have a bunch of people throwing themselves out of buildings at that point.
Well, I mean, that's a possibility because they teased it back in season 1. When
yeah, but she was reporting to Fury.
Right. But that's why I said they teased it.
I would almost say that whatever Mac and Bobby are working on, if they're betraying the team, I don't think it'd be to Hydra. It'd probably be to someone else.
I agree.
Up the S.H.I.E.L.D. ladder.
I kind of don't think they are betraying the team. I think they're working on something else.
It wouldn't surprise me if Fury hired the both of them. It wouldn't surprise me if Tony Stark hired the both of them, frankly. Hey, he hired Maria Hill.
That's true. They have mentioned him.
Yeah. And she would have the S.H.I.E.L.D. Rolodex. But that's not the only Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. news. Jamie Alexander is appearing on the series once again as Lady Sif from Thor films. Except this one, she's coming back, but they find her with complete amnesia.
Uh-oh.
Oh, boy.
Well, at least they know who she is.
It's going to be one of those stories. They say the producer of the series, Jeffrey Bell, says it'll give us some much-needed humor in a season that's been full of betrayal and death.
Oh. Going to be one of those episodes.
Yeah. And there's been another character added to the series. Are you familiar with the name Drea de Matteo?
I am not.
No.
She's been on both Sopranos and Sons of Anarchy. She's being cast in a guest starring role in Season 2 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., where she'll play Carla Gideon. She's going to be a gifted woman with a grudge to bear against S.H.I.E.L.D., and she'll be working alongside the character of Cal, played by Kyle MacLachlan. Sounds like she's going to be another Inhuman.
Fun. I am liking the Inhuman angle.
And there's been a little bit of news that's been talked about on Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Really?
Yes, the director of Guardians of the Galaxy, James Gunn, he told The Nerdist and Your New Best Friend podcast that he came up with the sequel's origin story while shooting the first Guardians movie.
Nice.
Quote, it's not really based on anything, unquote. He came up with something original while shooting the movie.
Cool.
Gunn also reiterated that Peter Quill's father is not the same man he is in the Marvel Comics universe, and that the sequel is going to provide more details on that person's identity. That's all we know. Other than the fact that the sequel was immediately approved when the first Guardians was released. They saw those beginning numbers and said, yes, we like money. Make us another one of these.
Who knew you have a box office hit in the summer?
Yeah, really. Bryan Singer has actually teased something new from the X-Men Apocalypse set.
Oh?
Yeah, he posted a photo of himself on Instagram standing in front of the traditional door to Cerebro. So it sounds like X-Men Apocalypse is where that system has been taken from whatever wreckage of CIA headquarters and actually put in the new basement of the X-Complex. Remember, this movie is supposed to take place in the 80s, approximately 10 years after the events of Days of Futures Past, where Professor X was a derelict and a drug addict. Nothing? Really?
No, didn't know that.
Wait, who is the drug addict?
Professor X.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
That serum, so it was shut down his telepathy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
I remember that.
And Wolverine shocked him back into doing whatever. But speaking of Professor X, there's a report that Patrick Stewart is going to reprise the role of Charles Xavier in the 2017 untitled Wolverine film.
Huh.
Interesting.
He said to Oregon Live recently, quote, I understand that it seems very unlikely that I will be in the next X-Men movie, which is almost getting ready to start shooting in Montreal. What I'm very excited about is that we have been talking about a Wolverine movie which would team Hugh Jackman and myself together. Unquote.
Interesting.
So I wonder if what would the 2013 Wolverine movie be? Would it be a sequel to where he ended up after Days of Futures Past? Would it be a new origin story? Would it be 2 hours of Patrick Stewart and Hugh Jackman telling dirty jokes to each other? What is it?
I would watch that.
I've seen him on The Family Guy and American Dad. That man can tell some twisted jokes.
Patrick Stewart?
Yes.
I'm sure.
He has recurring guest roles on both series. I mean, there was one where he was just a cat, very eager to lick his own junk.
Okay. I was
has
not
a
aware
sense
of
of
these
humor.
things.
Mm-hmm. And Sophie Turner opened up a little bit about her role as Jean Grey in X-Men Apocalypse. He said to comingsoon.net, quote, I think maybe one of the reasons that they chose me for Jean is because they saw the dark side of Sansa. Maybe they're thinking, oh, Phoenix, Jean Grey. I definitely see a lot of parallels there. Jean struggles with her power and not being accepted in the human world. I think in terms of Game of Thrones, that's kind of the way Sansa felt, in that she really wanted to be a normal princess queen and live a normal life, and she doesn't, because all of this havoc happens. I think Jean, in a way, feels that, unquote.
Yeah.
There are certain parallels to that,
I can definitely see the parallels, yeah.
Yeah, except Sansa Stark couldn't just stare at somebody and throw them into a wall. They also asked her about Famke Janssen's time in the role. Quote, I think Famke played Jean incredibly well, but also, I'm playing a younger version of her. I want to emulate Famke in a sense, because she has to seem like Jean in the first two movies, but I'm also going to put my own twist on her. I think I'm also going to take inspiration from the comics. I don't know, we'll see, unquote. You know, Famke Janssen, she didn't do anything wrong. However, I hope they step away from that.
Yeah, I said before, I think she did well in the role, but like you said, that she just didn't have much to do.
No, they often had her play nervous basket case during those first two movies, with the exception of the last 15 minutes of it.
Yeah.
So I think it's time to remove that. If I want to see a Jean Grey, I would like to see the Ultimate version. That one was very confident, although had some serious weaknesses to her.
Weaknesses are good.
Think about it this way. When in the Ultimate X-Men, she was the first X-Men. Professor X sent her out to go recruit new members. And she showed up, did a bunch of telepathic tricks, looked like this character who was very well assured of herself. Within about 5 issues, you found out that she randomly at times couldn't keep out all the voices she heard from people around her, would end up in screaming fits, needed minor amounts of medication to keep calm. She was dancing on the edge of a knife, basically.
Wow.
Well, I can imagine that kind of thing would happen to a telepath.
Yeah, more or less, yeah. And Fox isn't stopping with just X-Men movies. Ryan Reynolds recently tweeted a picture from the first day of production on the Deadpool set. He was standing in front of a mirror with the Deadpool mask in front of him. They were very quick to point out it's a prototype mask, so this may not be the final product. I take it I don't have to ask?
Pictures.
Shut up. Ray sent it. He sent it in sepia tones, obviously to guard some of the production going on in the film, but pretty easy to make out Deadpool down front.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. And Ryan Reynolds is playing him, right? Obviously, he's standing right there.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good thing because the way he played it before they effed up the character in X-Men Origins Wolverine was pretty close.
Yeah.
That could also be a bad thing because Green Lantern.
I honestly don't think it's his fault.
I haven't seen Green Lantern, so I'm going to withhold
Don't bother.
judgment.
There was a lot of horrible things in that movie, including Reynolds. He did not do well there. Last bit of Marvel media news I have is also Deadpool related. Gina Carano, the MMA fighter, has been added to the cast.
Really?
I don't know what role she's going to be in. She has recently been signed along with an actor named T.J. Miller, who's in an undisclosed role as well. There's also a rumor that Colossus is going to appear in the Deadpool film. No news as to whether or not it would be Daniel Cudmore in the role again. Oh, I'm sorry, Carano actually is in a named role. She's playing a character called Angel Dust. Nobody knows exactly what that... Well, nobody knows exactly what that is. However, in the comics, an Angel Dust character has appeared. She was one of the Morlocks.
Oh.
One of the sewer-dwelling mutants.
Oh. First, that one you said Angel Dust was like Speed?
Yeah, I'm not familiar with the character of Angel Dust, but I started reading comics after the Fall of the Mutants, which is where the Morlocks were very prevalent. No, was it Fall of the Mutants? No. Mutant Massacre. That's the phrase I'm looking for. I started reading after the Mutant Massacre and the Fall of the Mutants, technically. So, it was right on the first try. Well, from there we'll move into DC media news. We talk about DC's products that don't fall onto the comic book page. I did not know there was a new Batman animated series coming.
Neither did I.
Neither did I.
It's called Batman Unlimited Animal Instincts. It's an original animated film.
Oh, I did hear about this.
Yeah, Batman and some of his friends go up against Penguin and his Animalitia, including Killer Croc, Cheetah, Man-Bat, and Silverback. This is going to be an animated film. I've heard some people say after watching the trailer, all they saw was potential action figures.
Okay.
I believe it.
I have the trailer. It's a YouTube of 1.5 minutes.
Sure.
Link.
I think I've seen this already.
This is complete news to me, and this frankly scares me a little.
I think you may have saw it as a YouTube commercial.
The last couple DC animated features I've seen have not wowed me. There it is.
Which last two?
The Justice League and
Oh,
what was the one
yay.
before that?
Ad.
Oh, I saw the one that had to do with the Suicide Squad. Assault on Arkham.
The only one
we go.
I've watched is Under the Red Hood.
Holy crap! This animation, I'd like to say it's unfinished, but I know it is. This is like Saturday morning cartoon stuff.
Yeah.
I like that, personally. It's easy to see what's going on.
This pen looks way too young.
This series looks unfinished.
I'll be honest.
Is that Penguin?
Yeah, there's Batman Power Armor. Yeah, okay, I see the action figure jokes now.
Yeah.
It's like Batman and his best friends versus like Generation 2 Transformers, frankly.
It looks moderately entertaining to me.
I have a feeling that the animation is gonna be crap.
What the frick is this?
Yeah, the animations don't look good, but I mean, it looks like it's just a simple action.
Did that thing transform into a bike?
Yeah.
It did. You know what? I'll say it here. I joined the rest of Batman's Rogue Gallery. He's defeated me. I tap out to this. No way. I can't do this. This is not my thing.
I may watch it just to see how bad it is.
That's up to you.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like it's clearly for kids.
Kids, yeah.
It looked like it's for the money.
Yeah, but yeah.
It's way too colorful and bright for a traditional Batman movie.
There's color here. This isn't Batman. There's also supposedly a character that's going to reappear in Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. Actress Christina Wren played a minor role in Man of Steel as Carrie Ferris. Supposedly, she's going to be in Batman v Superman with a larger part.
What, Star Sapphire?
Well, Wren was talking to Pittsburgh Magazine. Quote, "I can tell you that I think it's going to be badass. They're just such an awesome team. The bits that I was on set for look fantastic. Everyone in it is fantastic. It's exciting. It's high energy. It's high action. They are addressing all of the things that they set up in Man of Steel," unquote. Okay, where are they getting that she's getting a larger part? Because she's the one that said the bits she was there for. It makes it sound like she's not on set anymore.
Maybe she finished her parts.
Well, she did. She was on set in August and September. She said, quote, "There's some gossip. This has not been officially confirmed with me at all. But my character's name is Carrie Ferris. There's a character named Carol Ferris who's the Green Lantern's girlfriend and turns into the superhero, Star Sapphire. But I have no idea if that's the plan. They're not even slated to do a Green Lantern film for several years," unquote. So she's aware of the comic books, but nobody's talked about her with anything. At least that she'll admit to. That's not the only actor that's apparently being added to DC films. Word is that in early talks to take the unclaimed role of Rick Flag in the Suicide Squad is RoboCop.
Who? Well, I mean, I know RoboCop, but
the actor Joel Kinnaman, who was in the recent RoboCop remake from 2013? Was it 2014. He's in early talks to take over as Rick Flag in the movie.
Yeah.
You know, if you'll recall, Tom Hardy dropped out of the role due to scheduling conflicts, and Jake Gyllenhaal basically said, no thank you. But the film still has Will Smith, Margot Robbie, and Jared Leto in it. It's going to be directed by Fury director David Ayer, and it's supposed to start production in April. It's scheduled for an August 5th, 2016 release. I would have to see some trailers before I could make a decision about seeing a Suicide Squad film.
Yeah.
I know nothing about them, so...
So you would definitely need a trailer.
Yep.
Last bit of DC media news actually comes from Dwayne Johnson.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, if you recall, this is the man who's being cast as Black Adam in the Shazam film.
Yeah.
Being cast as the anti-hero. And he opened up about his role as Black Adam in the 2019 movie. And it seems he's not being the typical villain. Quote, "I think Black Adam is going to grow into becoming an anti-hero. It's all written within the spirit of respecting and paying homage to the comics. As we know, Black Adam started out as a slave. When he's given the powers, he utilized them. Then in the wake of his powers, tragedy strikes, which turns his sentiment and tone in terms of psychology." That's his quote.
He's not wrong.
Johnson, he continued to say that he signed up for the role not just to be in Shazam, but also step into the broader DC cinematic universe. And he said, quote, "It was all agreed that the worlds are interconnected. One day you'll see Black Adam go at it with Superman or Batman or any of the DC characters. But that said, there's a great independence to Black Adam from the DC world, allowing us to inject not only viciousness, but also winking humor," unquote. I don't know if that means Black Adam is going to do a people's eyebrow or something. Hey, look, he can play the role. You know, he's proven to me that he can actually act. But 2019 is an awfully far way off to get the first view of this character. Goodness knows what could happen by then. He might beat the Undertaker or something.
Yeah, I got that reference.
I don't know if that's a triumph or not. Sorry, loading pages again. Whose? Mine or the Undertaker's?
Yes.
It still scares me that there's a chance I could see him next month. The Undertaker's one of the few modern... he does WrestleMania once a year, and that's where I happen to be going.
Cool.
Right after Jimmy's wedding, so... Yeah. Okay, let's see. Next up, we have general media news, where we talk about the nerdy TV and internet projects that come up that don't happen to fit in Marvel and DC's pocketbooks. Something that came up last week, I actually forgot to talk about. Did anybody here watch early Comedy Central TV show known as BattleBots?
Nope.
Yes.
Okay, BattleBots V is exactly what it sounds like. You had engineers create robots, and they fought in a tournament bracket to become king of a particular weight class in robots. The show, after about 3 or 4 seasons, kind of got a little stale because a lot of the builders found out that if you have a powerful wedge robot in any weight class, it was very likely to win.
Mm-hmm.
Basically something that could run into the other robot and just flip it on its back. It tended to win a lot of stuff. Believe it or not, according to Deadline, ABC has ordered a special 6-episode season reboot this summer.
Nice.
Wonder if Grant Imahara's going to be part of it.
Oh, yeah. Wait, who?
Grant Imahara?
I don't know about Grant Imahara. Adam Savage and Jamie Heineman from Mythbusters have both participated in BattleBots, and both of them have said they've retired from creating warbots.
I know Grant was part of it, too.
Yeah, I don't know what... I mean, it's not like they're doing anything with them right now, so I don't know. But it does appear that it's going to follow the same basic formula as the Comedy Central predecessor, which means there's probably going to be a warehouse in San Francisco that's going to be very loud soon. So, if you got an interest in a pneumatic hammer, grab your stuff. It's time to build. And I'm a fan of Breaking Bad. That is not a secret if you've listened to the show long term. I sat down and watched the finale with a pint of ice cream, and I was rapt. And I've been curious since they announced the spin-off series, the prequel of Better Call Saul, where the criminal lawyer in the series gets his own story. Shows how he rose to be a disingenuous lawyer. Here's the thing I didn't expect. The show apparently set records for a cable TV show. The premiere got 4.4 million viewers just in the 1849 demographic. The show also got a 3.4 rating. Overall, the series premiere pulled in 6.9 million viewers.
Nice.
That is amazing for a cable TV show.
Wow.
And I've watched both first episodes so far. It very much keeps in the style of Breaking Bad.
Yeah, I still haven't watched Breaking Bad.
Neither have I.
I recommend it. It's good storytelling.
I understand. I will eventually.
Eventually. It took you 6 months to watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Hey, finish Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Let me clarify.
Okay. Let me see here. Has anyone here watched the Matrix sequels?
Yeah, of course.
Yes, regrettably.
Okay. There was only one good section in the Matrix Revolutions, in my opinion. That was the section where the squids invaded the city and, the humans got in these funky-ass exoskeletons to try and defend it.
Uh-huh.
Somebody's finally created a toy of that.
Really?
Yeah, it's a company called 3-0 who are bringing in these 13.5-inch versions of the mech suits. Essentially a URL so you could take a look of the APU. These are actually really impressive in detail.
Oh, yeah.
It looks like a painting.
Well, here's something that looks like it's pulled off of a sales ad by 3-0. And I'm not sure how much it is. I don't see anything in here about price. Oh, I'm sorry. $390.
Yeah, no.
Damn.
Well, believe it or not, the suit isn't the only thing you get. Remember it took 2 people to run the suits?
It did?
Yeah. You needed somebody to load ammunition. The whole thing comes with a secondary figure and an ammo loader.
Wow.
I like mechs. I like mechas and mech suits like that. I thought those things were just hideous. And I really didn't care.
Device to begin with. It's an impressive piece of work, though, to put this together.
Yeah.
It looked really good. Well, we've talked before that the Wheel of Time supposedly was getting a pilot tryout. Somebody was putting together a TV show about it.
Mm-hmm.
Can you believe that the pilot actually came out on TV and it was unadvertised?
What?
The pilot, known as Winter Dragon, aired early the morning of the 9th of February on FXX. It was listed as client-supplied programming, according to an FXX spokesperson. That means that somebody rented time on the network to show the pilot.
Wow.
It was listed in the same way as an infomercial. Why would you not tell people about this?
I know.
Somebody decided to try and pin down a CEO of Red Eagle Entertainment named Rick Selvage and the executive producer of Winter Dragon. And he said it was more of an issue of getting it on the air. Quote, you probably know that a lot of pilots are put on the air at different times in different ways and for different reasons. A lot of other properties, there's always an air date that you need to air something by, and that was certainly part of it. But this pilot aired in the middle of the night as paid programming and means that there aren't lavish plans for a Wheel of Time series, says Selvage, who promises more announcements soon. Winter Dragon was a pilot for a high-budget production television series. We think there's huge demand for the television series internationally, and we're looking forward to producing it and getting it out in the marketplace. Obviously, the pilot was a prologue to The Eye of the World, which is the first book. It was not the introduction to the series, although it is a pilot. Certainly, we want fans to find out about it and be excited that there's a lot more to come, unquote. Then how about you fucking tell us about it?
Yeah.
I didn't even like the Wheel of Time books, but I'd give the series I'd give a TV series a try if you had told me it was coming.
Right?
Holy crap! Now I gotta dig through the internet. Got a little bit of Doctor Who news here. There is a regeneration coming.
Wait, what? Already?
Yes, there's a regeneration coming. And no, you have no idea what I'm talking about. Trust me. The regeneration coming is of the Sixth Doctor, Colin Baker.
Okay, more explanation required.
Okay, Colin Baker, we discussed his story a little bit last week. Remember, his future self came and played a lawyer who was trying to put his entire life on trial?
Uh-huh.
Things were so dire because the show was about to be canceled that the schedule was repeatedly changed for an entire year during production. And then it found itself on a definite hiatus. And the situation turned so grim that it turned to a parody during the year break. Okay, they tried to bounce back by releasing a We Are the World pop song about Doctor Who sung by the cast. And Colin's Doctor was supposed to get got one last season, The Trial of the Time Lord, a season-long storyline before it was just acted at the behest of executives. Now, Colin Baker, as a result, never actually had a regeneration scene. But the people at Big Finish, who made audio dramas about the Sixth Doctor, are finally telling the last story of the Colin Baker Doctor.
Nice.
According to a press release by Big Finish, Colin's last outing in the Doctor Who role on television was Tale of a Time Lord in 1986, but there was no proper handover story to Sylvester McCoy when he joined the Doctor series back in 1987. 28 years later, the full details of the Sixth Doctor's death will be released and is part of an epic battle that spans many sections of his life and involves many of his companions. I spoke to Colin not long after Matt Smith's final outing. The Time of the Doctor was broadcast on television, says producer David Richardson. I felt very strongly that the regeneration stories in each Doctor's final end are very important to Doctor Who fans. These are stories that allow us to see the Doctor at his most courageous, making a sacrifice that only makes us love him more. And so I asked Colin if he might finally consider doing the Sixth Doctor's final story with us. To my huge delight, he said yes.
Hooray! Wait, he's old now, isn't he?
Well, yeah, but remember, Big Finish did a bunch of audio dramas about the stories of the Sixth Doctor and some of the untold stories there. So it's going to be entirely audio stories,
okay.
my guess. So it's not going to be on the screen, but it will be auditory. We're going to finally get an official end to the Sixth Doctor.
Interesting.
Cool.
As a result of Sony and Marvel's little collaboration in regards to Spider-Man, this changed several things about the cinematic calendar. Several of Marvel's movies were pushed back as a result. The reason for that is because the slot originally inhabited by Thor 3 Ragnarok has been taken over by an unnamed Spider-Man film that Marvel Studios is now putting together in an obvious hurry. Thor Ragnarok originally was supposed to come out on July 28th. That is now the date of the Spider-Man movie. Thor Ragnarok has been pushed back to November 3rd, 2017. Just 4 months. As a result of that, the Black Panther was also pushed back to July 6th of 2018, and the Captain Marvel movie, originally in that slot, is now on November 2nd of 2018. I've heard people say that is giving Captain Marvel the short shrift, giving her a November release date. I don't know if that's necessarily short shrift, or if Marvel just feels that strongly in whatever production is happening that Captain Marvel can handle a November date now.
Well,
when in November was it?
November 2nd.
Oh.
Beginning of winter movie season, basically.
Okay.
I mean, before people say that they're killing the movie, remember, they put Guardians of the Galaxy in August, and it fucking killed.
Yeah.
They knew what was coming then. So maybe they know something about Captain Marvel we don't. But they did give Black Panther a prime July 6th release date now. It sounds like they're really liking where their production is going.
So are there still 16 comic book films in 2016?
2, 3, 4, 5, 7 of them. Do you want me to give you the revised list of current comic book movie releases?
No.
That'll be a long list.
Yeah, no.
It is actually a list of about 20 films over the next 5 years between Marvel and DC.
Only 20?
No, pass.
About there, yeah. Do you want them?
Nah.
Nah.
Yeah, we still have 3 coming out this year, though. We have Age of Ultron coming out just May 1st. We have Ant-Man coming out July 17th. And then August 7th is the Fantastic Four reboot. Go easy. I'm sure it'll be easier than hemorrhoids or something.
I'll give it a try. I still haven't seen the first one, so I'm not traumatized yet.
No.
I said so. I'm not traumatized yet.
Don't do it. You have so much to live for.
It could be worse. She could have watched Green Lantern.
No!
I can't see how Green Lantern could be worse than Catwoman, which I saw.
It's possible. Both of them have made recent lists of top 5 worst comic book movies.
Steel.
So, it's entirely possible. Let me see. Robert Kirkman is one of the co-creators of The Walking Dead. He's actually getting another TV series based on his comic book property. Cinemax has ordered a series of Outcasts. Outcast follows the character of Kyle Barnes, played by Patrick Fugit. He's going to be a young man played by demonic possession. Gabriel Bateman and Philip Glenister are supposed to co-star in the adaptation of this Image comic. There's no current release date set. So we have Preacher coming out by Seth Rogen, which is about a man who's been possessed by an angel-devil hybrid, and then we have Outcast, about a man who's demonically possessed. I'm starting to sense a theme here. These are on 2 different networks. And is anybody here a James Bond fan?
I'm a
so-so.
Moderate fan, yeah.
I have a YouTube of about 2 minutes. That's some behind-the-scenes footage of the filming of Spectre, which is supposed to be Daniel Craig's last Bond film.
Shoot.
Sure.
Don't say that to a Bond fan. That's dangerous. There it is. Oh, they're shooting in mountains again.
I like mountains.
Austria.
Beautiful place called Solden.
It's very surreal. It looks like a painting, especially from.
Holy crap, that is a really nice vista.
It's my first time ever
So
on a mountain.
Oh,
pretty.
Dave Bautista's in this film.
Nervous at the moment, but
I don't know
Drax
who
the
that
Destroyer
is.
is playing a character called Mr. Hinks.
Yeah.
Above all, we have to deliver an amazing
What is it about Bond films and evil Range Rovers, though?
The interaction sequences of the movie, a jewel in the crown, so to speak.
Yeah, as long as it's black.
Spectacular, and Austria seemed
What are you trying to
offer
say?
everything that we needed to pull it off.
What are you thinking?
That you're a prick.
So this is all in Austria.
Many countries to try and
Looks like it.
And as long as Bond has a silver Aston Martin, everything's fine.
So here we are now, first day of shooting, and it's just absolutely amazing.
There's all the difficulties of filming somewhere that's so...
Wow, this does look like a big production that they're putting together here. I'm actually going to miss Daniel Craig as Bond. I think he's done a pretty good job of bringing the character back to ground and, dialing down the quips. The one-liners during the Pierce Brosnan era were so teeth-grating.
I liked Pierce Brosnan as Bond.
No, I didn't say he did a bad job, but it seemed like the writers just wanted to have something stupid to say at every second of his life.
Yeah, that's true.
So far, it's a good start.
I don't know, when I saw that glass structure, the one thing came to mind was a scene from Watchmen, for some reason.
What could be more exciting than to be on
I really don't know what you're talking about. I still have not sat down to watch Watchmen in any serious degree.
I really enjoyed that movie.
Well, this does look like it's going to be a nifty Bond film, and they're bringing back the classic villain organization of Spectre, so a little bit of something for everybody.
Hopefully they'll treat it right.
Yeah, you know what? I'm in on that. I'll watch it.
Yeah, I've been really enjoying the Daniel Craig movies, so...
Yeah. And something I have been enjoying, but I didn't expect to, is the TNT show, The Librarians.
Yes, I still have only seen the first episode, but...
Well, you have work to do, and you need to do it in a hurry, because TNT has ordered another 10 episodes for a second season, slated to launch later this year. The new season comes later this year, actually.
Nice.
The Librarians on a whole rated as cable's number 2 new series for all of 2014, and it reached an average viewership of 11.4 million viewers. That's pretty strong for an off-cable network. And that's through linear telecast, DVR playback, and VOD. People are just apparently enjoying or rewatching the series. I don't know which.
Well,
so
great.
Congratulations to them. I still contend that this feels like a magic version of Doctor Who on the show.
Yeah,
I agree
I
with
made
you.
the same comparison.
Yeah. And I think that the cast of characters, the fact that there's a team of librarians is brilliant, because you could actually have death scenes and replace characters without any major fall off in the series.
Right. Which I like. I get frustrated with TV series where the main characters continually escape a certain death.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably why I don't watch a lot of shows these days. Last bit I've got in general media news is a vampire movie I would actually like to watch. I had not heard of it until a couple days ago via IO9. The movie is called What We Do in the Shadows, which already sounds like it sounds like something evil you do in San Francisco, frankly. But the movie is actually a mockumentary. Think Spinal Tap, but it's about vampires. According to the writing, the entire production cast wore crucifixes during the making of the film, where they followed the lives of 4 vampires living in a house together in Wellington, New Zealand. You have Viago, who sets his alarm for 6 p.m. He arises every day and dutifully goes about the task of waking up his flatmates. You have Vladislav, who he has a decadent sexiness that's molded after Gary Oldman's Dracula. Deacon, the rebellious young vampire at 183 who exasperates his roommates by ignoring household chores. And the 8,000-year-old Petier, who looks like Nosferatu. And nobody ever bothers this guy about the chore wheel.
Sounds like vampire reality TV.
Well, like I said, it's a mockumentary about the life of 4 vampires in New Zealand. This actually sounds like a lot of fun.
Could be interesting.
I might check it out.
I would have to see something. Unfortunately, there's no current U.S. release slated. I don't know why. You know, the U.S. usually loves parodies, and this sounds right up the alley of... well, it sounds more interesting than Twilight, anyway.
They like parodies, and they like vampires.
Almost everything is more interesting than Twilight.
Hey, wait, this story has a trailer attached to it.
Really?
Yeah.
Clicky, clicky.
I just sent it. It's going to make me break back into puberty. Okay, it starts off rather creepy and almost Blair Witch-like. What the hell?
Very Blair Witch-like. Well, this is less Blair Witch.
Sorry, guys, there was a vampire just floating there trying to vacuum the stairs.
Okay, I like this.
that's not the point, though.
This is very goofy.
This is stupid.
I like it.
We're only about 40 seconds in the trailer, and I'm fucking sold. I need to see this.
This is great.
Ghost car. Vladislav is a bit of a...
It's my torture chamber.
Deacon's like the young bad boy of the group. Supposed to pay rent, but I don't.
The trouble with being a
They can't go to bars because they can't get invited into the bars. That's great.
We need some fresh blood. Hi, my name is Nick. I've been a vampire for 2 months. My friend Richie's a bouncer. He'll invite us in.
Gentlemen, you are most welcome.
Nick is so much fun.
I like that you can't float into the window.
Why don't you use the front door? You want to draw attention to this house,
You've got a whole documentary crew following you around.
You let a vampire hunter.
Oh, I like that. You let a vampire hunter into our house? Oh, I just gave him my email.
You will not eat the camera guard. Maybe one camera guard.
This is amazing.
Oh God.
This is
my
awesome.
God. That's why it reminded me of Flight of the Conchords.
What we do in the shadows.
When you're a vampire, you become very...
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna watch this.
Yeah, I'm fucking sold. Apparently, it's a Kickstarter to try and get film rights for the U.S.
You know, I think it would be funny is that whenever the film crew filming them realize you guys aren't appearing on camera.
It wouldn't be much of a movie, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Just a bunch of cups floating around.
Ooh, a ghost. Let's see. We have Marvel comic news. Not much of it because they're keeping rather secretive in regards to what comes after Secret Wars. Apparently, during the Secret Wars, though, MODOK is getting his own book.
Okay.
It's going to be a miniseries called MODOK Assassin. It's going to be written by Christopher Yost and done by artist Amilcar Pena. It's supposed to be set in the previously teased region of Killville on Battle World. MODOK Assassin begins in May with a big-headed villain at the top of the food chain when it comes to assassin work. So I guess he's going to piss off Bullseye to some degree. I guess it's just going to be kind of a side story going on during Secret Wars. You know, MODOK as an assassin is a very weird story. The giant baby head with little arms is apparently very good with guns and hammers or something. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I can't say I'm terribly interested. It's just, it is what they're doing. Also, Garth Ennis is returning to Marvel during the Secret Wars, and he's going to be doing a book called Where Monsters Dwell. It's a 5-issue series featuring Ennis and a frequent collaborator named Russ Braun taking a World War I pilot versus flying dinosaurs. The Secret Wars tie-in miniseries.
Okay.
They're bringing up some very strange properties for this.
I haven't really... Yeah.
I don't know what to say. You know, it sounds like a modern take of Cadillacs versus dinosaurs and stuff.
Wait, what? Is that a thing?
Yes,
it was a comic book and a cartoon for a little while, yeah. Or Cadillacs and dinosaurs, I'm probably misspoke.
Were the Cadillacs sentient?
No, they were driven by people.
Okay. Just... Okay.
I don't know if it was a walking ad for GM cars or what, but that's what it was called. Last bit of Marvel comic news is that Marvel is partnering with a digital distribution, I don't know if it's an app or company, called Scribd, SCRIBD, and they're putting up a digital subscription service. According to VP of CRM, Danielle Campbell, quote, "For decades, a driving force at Marvel has been the desire to put comics in the hands of new readers. Our partnership with Scribd allows some of Marvel's greatest stories to sit alongside Scribd's already vast and eclectic catalog of content in an effort to reach readers who might not have access to a comic shop. This partnership gives us the opportunity to not only bring devoted comic fans into Scribd's world of unlimited reading, but to also introduce the entire Scribd community to the world of comics." Unquote. Marvel fans are going to have the ability to browse hundreds of Marvel's collected editions, including characters like Spider-Man and the Guardians of the Galaxy and X-Men and Avengers and, creators from all eras of comics. I wonder what the initial catalog is going to be. I wonder if there's digital scans already of a lot of classic comics, because I would be nervous having to be the guy to crack open Avengers #1 and say, okay, don't ruin the book, put it on the copier. Don't ruin the book, put it on the copier. Don't ruin the book, put it on the copier. Of course, that would just be my paranoia as a collector. And we have a little bit of DC comic news as well. Convergence is going to tell some interesting stories, as we've talked about. There's going to be characters from different eras of DC comic books and multiverses getting together. However, I never thought I'd read about a comic book that's going to team up the characters of Harley Quinn and Captain Carrot.
Who?
Captain
what?
Carrot?
Captain Carrot
I can only
is from
envision Carrot Top in my head.
It's not that stupid, but Captain Carrot comes from the DC multiverse in a plane where cartoon physics rule all. He's literally a walking, talking rabbit with a superhero suit. And he gets to team up with Harley Quinn, who might think of him as nothing more than some kind of weird delusion, I would guess.
Does he say, "What's up, Doc"?
Thankfully, no. I don't know what his battle cry is, nor do I ever care to really find out. I saw him in a recent book, I don't remember where it was, where he was squashed and then popped back up like an accordion as everyone else just stared in horror. So that was all I needed to know. And the last bit of DC comic news I have is that there is a new Suicide Squad roster coming.
Okay.
I don't know when exactly, or I'm sorry, this squad takes over as of issue 9 of the current run. It's going to be Parasite, a Superman villain, a Green Lantern villain called the Black Hand, Poison Ivy, the current Reverse Flash, the Cheetah, and a Talon from the Court of Owls.
The Court of Owls?
Yeah, the Court of Owls was a Batman storyline where he finds out that there is I guess you could say, a cadre of people of power who just dress up in owl masks, and they employ assassins known as Talons. The Court of Owls has been in existence since the 1900s.
Okay.
I have 2 questions in regards to this. One, if you have a movie coming out that's going to involve characters like Harley Quinn and Deadshot, why are they not still in the comic book? And my number 2 question is, there's been a Talon on the Birds of Prey, there's been a Talon that's had his own series, and now there's a Talon on the Suicide Squad. If these guys are so badass, why do they keep getting captured?
Well, most of them are under ice, or if they were released by Bane.
Still, though, they become less intimidating as I find more and more of them in regular DC comic books.
Well, they also have kind of free will. They still have to follow orders of whomever is controlling them. So, they could have been just barred off.
Honestly, though, this crew, the Reverse Flash, Poison Ivy, Parasite, Black Hand, Cheetah, and this Talon, sounds like a much better movie roster. It's a bigger variance in ability there.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm starting to really question why Warner Brothers is taking that particular take of the book, and I could also question why DC changed up the entire roster when they got a movie coming. It does seem to be undercutting itself quite a bit there.
Just a tad.
All right, we will move into general comic book news, where we talk about the comic book projects that don't fall under Marvel and DC. First off, as people who follow conventions are probably aware, next weekend, Comic-Con is going to have its regular registration sale on Saturday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. They've already started announcing guests for Comic-Con. Last week it was announced that Kelly Sue DeConnick, Carlos Esquerza, Lev Grossman, Reginald Houdin, and William Stout were going to attend the convention. This week it was announced that Hugh Howley, the author of the series Wool, Scott McCloud, the writer and artist of Zot, Louis Royo, he's the illustrator on The Ice Dragon and Malefic Time.
Ooh, my favorite artist ever.
Yeah, he's coming. Jillian Tamaki, writer and artist of Skim, and This One Summer, and Mariko Tamaki, the writer of Skim, and This One Summer, are all coming to Comic-Con. I take it that has your attention, V.
Yes, Louis Royo is my favorite artist, bar none.
I wonder if he'll have his own booth, or if he'll be in the artist alley. He'll probably have a booth, frankly.
He should have a booth. Have you seen his art?
I'm not familiar.
Oh my god.
It's interesting listening to you fangirl over an artist I'm not familiar with. I'm curious now.
Let's just... Okay, I'm going to link his website right now, and you'll
Don't
understand.
forget to clean your shorts. Let's see. Louis Royo Image Gallery. Quick search.
Wow.
He seems to do a lot of Fantasy Babe stuff,
Yeah.
doesn't he?
And far as I'm concerned, it's insanely good.
It's not bad.
Wow, it kind of reminds me of Final Fantasy VI art.
It actually kind of reminds me of heavy metal.
Yeah, he's been in heavy metal.
Not surprised in the least. So you going to try and seek this guy out?
Oh, yeah.
Well, we better get our tickets then.
Right.
I know what I'm doing Saturday, I guess. But there has been a little bit of news that the SDCC blog has put out. They have a weekly update before Comic-Con they call Under the Tents. And as it turns out, they're going to try and put together another fan gathering for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. during the weekend of Comic-Con.
Mm-hmm.
It's also been announced that Disney Animation Studios is coming back to the convention this year. Last year, they brought their Big Hero 6 stuff in promo and preparation of the movie. Word is they may have a full panel for their list of films, like the time they did for Wreck-It Ralph. Ashley Eckstein is bringing her nerd and fashion-inspired line, Her Universe. And the open registration is coming soon. They've already shut down member IDs. Nobody can sign up for a member ID till after registration sale occurs.
Huh.
They usually close about 2 weeks before the sale, which is probably how people keyed into the upcoming date. J.J. Abrams has opened up a little bit about Comic-Con.
Really?
He would like to bring Star Wars The Force Awakens to Comic-Con.
Oh.
He was asked by Collider, "Are you going to be at Comic-Con?" And his response was, "I hope so." So the Collider interviewer said, "I'm hoping you're going to be showing stuff to fans. Fans want to see stuff." And Abrams replied with, "Well, I could not be more grateful to all the fans. I look forward to Comic-Con in any event." This is the man who leaked stuff just for the sake of leaking it. If he goes to Comic-Con, I wouldn't be surprised if Disney and LucasArts tried to strap him down and check him for microfilm or something. But if he did come to Comic-Con officially, he would probably bring a clip of some sort. You could bet he would fill up Hall H by himself. The man who reimagined Star Wars and Star Trek.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not all news about Comic-Con is positive, though. Jesse.
Yeah?
Do you recall that parking lot adjacent to Petco Park where they put up the interactive zone last year? Next to the baseball stadium that held the Walking Dead, was it the Walking Dead survival event?
Yeah.
There was a bunch of stuff across the way for, like, not The Simpsons, Sleepy Hollow, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Amazon brought their quick sale bus there.
Uh-huh.
Turns out that parking lot is going to go under construction.
Oh.
It's part of the Parcel C development San Diego is working on. And they're going to turn that parking lot into a mixed-use complex with a condo, high-rise, and retail spaces. So that lot is going to be completely offline during this year's Comic-Con.
Damn.
So they're going to need to move some stuff.
Space is becoming a real premium there.
Yeah, really. There's word that somebody's put up a ballot initiative to try and have the city vote on a new Charger stadium somewhere. I know the Chargers would like to move it to downtown. They say it'd be perfect there, and I'd say, fuck that. There's already too much stuff going on downtown. V, if you make it, you have got to see downtown San Diego. It is crowded, but it's a good kind of crowded with all kinds of businesses to take a look at.
Okay.
And don't worry, if you come, we'll stay away from the bathroom and stuff. The Masquerade entry form for Comic-Con is already up, and the rules for 2015 have been announced. Some top cosplayers may be able to enter and bypass the badge system to do so.
Really?
Yeah. Top cosplayers may be able to get a Saturday badge by entering in the Masquerade, according to the official rules. Quote, Our contestants go to much work to craft their amazing creations, but some who are confirmed as contestants are unable to buy attendee badges due to the sellout. For only those contestants who have been accepted into the masquerades at least once since 2011, if you have a costume suitable for the show and submit an entry form and photos, and we deem you meet the acceptance criteria as listed in the rules, we can arrange for contestants to be able to buy a 2015 attendee badge so they can participate despite badges being sold out. Email the coordinator at masquerade@comiccon.net for more information. Unquote.
That's kind of nice of them.
Cool.
Yeah, that means top-tier costumers can actually come to the convention regardless of their ability to buy a badge for the day, assuming they've been pre-approved. Contestants can enter as either a single participant or in a group, and medallions will be given to the winners in the categories of Best in Show, Judge's Choice, Best Recreation, Best Original Design, Best Workmanship, Best Presentation, Most Beautiful, and Best Young Fan. That would be hella bragging rights to get into Comic-Con just based on your costume alone.
Right?
Yeah.
WonderCon has also announced that they're having several panels, including Richard Hatch is coming to talk about Battlestar Galactica, the original and the remake he was in. And something I didn't expect to say, one of my neighbors is actually going to be in a panel at WonderCon.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not going to say where I live for the sake of the man's privacy, but it turns out that the original Christopher Reeve Superman film, have you both seen that?
Yeah.
No. I probably have, but haven't remembered.
Okay, one of the first scenes where a young Clark Kent helped out, his father, Pa Kent?
Mm-hmm.
Pa was changing the tire of the truck.
Right.
It was about to fall on him, and the 2-year-old Clark Kent lifted it up and kept it from falling on him. Right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That child is now full grown and lives 3 doors down from me.
Nice.
He's a Canadian guy, really nice guy. I met him by happenstance. I mentioned to him that I did convention reporting at comic books, and his face, I don't want to say it's soured, but he had that expression of, how much do I tell him? So we kept talking, and I double-checked the Superman Richard Donner years panel going on at WonderCon, and sure enough, his face is there.
Nice.
So I know a celebrity, like personally. It'll be interesting to see him up on the stage. Hasbro and IDW have announced that they're extending their partnership. IDW produces the comics on Hasbro properties, including Transformers, G.I. Joe, and My Little Pony. What was the snicker about?
Just My Little Pony in that list.
Okay. Well, they have extended their contract, and it's clear that it's going on through 2015 and a few years beyond. They haven't said exactly how long the extension is for. But now added into that are the comic books coming for The Littlest Pet Shop, Dungeons & Dragons, and Gem and the Holograms.
Gem.
Again with the laughter.
I don't know. It's just incongruous for some reason.
Okay. That's not the only property getting a comic book. Vertigo announced on Thursday that they're working with Slash Film to produce 2 comic tie-ins to the upcoming Mad Max Fury Road movie. I don't know if this means Lord Humongous is coming in comics or what, but this does mean that who is starring in that new Mad Max film?
There's a new Mad Max film?
Yeah, Tom Hardy, the guy who played Bane in the Dark Knight Rises. He's going to be the new Mad Max for Fury Road. Charlize Theron also has a role in it too. It's coming out May 15th of this year.
Is that really how you pronounce her name?
Charlize Theron?
Yeah.
That's how I've learned it, yes. Why? What did you say?
I'm probably wrong. I say it Theron.
Okay, I haven't shook her hand, so I don't know exactly how she says it. If I did shake her hand, I probably immediately have to change my shorts.
Right.
And not because I pooped in them. So, IDW also announced that they've relocated to San Diego, and they now have a comic art gallery in their new headquarters. They did a business expansion that's supposed to finish in June of 2015, and they're opening a new comic art gallery.
Cool.
They're listing the former Navy barracks at the NTC in Liberty Station. It's nestled in Point Loma. And it sounds a bit far away to travel from Comic-Con if we're going there just for the weekend. I would like to see that, though. IDW's put up some interesting stuff lately.
Mm-hmm.
So, we'll move on to anime and Japan news then. Remember last week I shared some of the Snow Festival from Sapporo?
What?
It had that giant, the Sapporo Snow Festival. Remember there was that 4-story Star Wars snow sculpture? And among others?
Yeah.
Turns out there was a special appearance I didn't know about during the festival. Hatsune Miku held a concert. The lead character from the Vocaloid series.
Oh.
Okay, don't... God, you say it like I'm getting ready to give you a coffee colonic or something. Hey, some people consider the character a big deal. I can't argue that. And the fact that a virtual character is able to hold concerts is also kind of interesting.
I've heard of them, so probably.
I think it's better than using it just to reinsert Michael Jackson and Tupac Shakur into concerts. I actually have a 5-minute video of the appearance at the Sapporo Snow Festival. Want to go through it a little?
Sure.
Not the whole, 6 minutes, because I have a feeling that our combined patience wouldn't be able to do it, but it's only fair to give it a look. I sent it. That is a lot of people with light sticks. I wonder if this was outdoor and these people are freezing their cook-us off.
It actually looks like it's indoor. Maybe.
It could be, I don't know. The reflection of the screen they're using to make the 3D projection makes it look like she's in the center of a large crowd.
Yeah.
I do feel a little awkward about all these people yelling things at the stage as if, the character isn't pre-programmed. If it was an AI that could respond to that, I'd be freaked out.
Yeah. Be like Macross 7 all over again.
You mean plus?
Plus, yeah, plus.
Yeah. That would be horrible if you read about Hatsune Miku going all sure an apple on a crowd. I appreciate that they're at least using a live band instead of a pre-recorded one.
I'm rather amazed by the technology that they have to do this.
Yeah, I kind of feel for the band, because if somebody misses a tempo in the cue and the whole thing is screwed up, that'd be hard to recover from. It wouldn't be that easy for the singer to technically stop and restart mid-song if necessary.
I assume they're very talented musicians.
Oh, they would have had to practice this, beyond belief. I guess one advantage, though, to playing behind this is that improv is impossible. She's not going to go off script, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Man, that is a building
and
full
when
of
she does, we know the beginning of the end is nigh.
That's when Hatsune Miku's across the planet start marching through the streets and just terminating peace. One thing I do appreciate about Japanese musical concerts is how interactive they are with fans. They seem to purposely write in sections for the people to get involved. But it's an easy way to keep the crowd from getting bored if everything's interactive. See somebody waving a Miku plushie down there. I'm not sure if that's cool or just creepy.
Perspective.
It is about perspective, but the Japanese also have that weird thing where they fall in love with 2D characters.
Oh, there's some Americans over here that can do that.
Yeah, we got some weird weeaboos over here. What is it, V?
Nothing at all.
What? What?
I have been very affectionate towards television characters.
Affectionate to the point where you marry, your DVD player or
yeah,
something?
no, not that far.
Okay, then you're fine. I'm going to stop that there.
Yeah.
Just because the song is going to continue. But, man, technology's come a long way. It really has.
We're living in the future.
There was a short-lived one-season anime series called Susei no Gargantia. It has a second OVA coming relatively soon. I didn't know the first one was out. I watched this series. It was rather interesting.
What genre is it?
I'm sorry?
What genre is it?
I would call it sci-fi drama. A young boy in a sci-fi army that's fighting against aliens that look like giant squids. He gets lost as his unit is, or not his unit, as his entire armada takes a warp out. He gets caught in the wake, and he's flung back to Earth, which he thought he was protecting all this time. Turns out Earth is not as desolate and uninhabited of a place as he thought. The whole planet's covered in water, and people are surviving by hooking together large boats and creating living fleets, kind of like large floating cities.
Flotillas.
Yes. Because of the machine he's piloting, he's instantly one of the most powerful people on the planet, but he also finds out that the space squids he's been trying so hard to eradicate during his entire lifetime as a genetically engineered soldier are pervasive in the world's ocean.
Huh.
So he has to figure out how to survive with people that can't understand what he's saying, and also convince them that these things that the locals seem to think is relatively benign are very dangerous. It's an interesting story. It was told well. It was well produced. Not something that fits for everybody, though, because it's not like it's filled with cute visuals or magical girls or stuff like that.
Don't care.
I dug it. I thought it was a well-told story. Robots are getting more pervasive in Japan. There's going to be a hotel opening that's staffed entirely by robots.
What? When can I get my robot butler?
I would love to see this hotel.
Well, it's called the Henna Hotel. It's going to open in the Huitenbosch theme park in Nagasaki Prefecture in July by employing what they call actroid androids, robots that mimic humans. It's going to be able to significantly reduce costs because now they're not paying for staff. They're just paying for one or two guys, obviously, with a bunch of wrenches and everything to fix their robots. But 10 robots are going to staff a 72-room hotel capable of cleaning rooms, transporting luggage, and greeting guests at the hotel reception. Rooms are going to range from 7,000 yen, or $59.36, up to 14,000 yen, or $117.19. That's pretty cheap for a goddamn hotel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if a robot's going to come up to your door every day around 8 a.m. and suddenly go, housekeeping?
Well, I imagine if it could be cheaper because robots don't require wages.
Probably, but if they break down, that means if there's only 10 or 12 robots running this hotel, if one breaks down, that's a serious staffing problem.
Well, sure, but I'm saying they only have to pay the wages for, like, the repair guys.
God, could you imagine if they do this for a few years, proves it works, and then they try and bring it to the U.S.? The union fight would be epic.
Oh, damn.
But the humanoid robots supposedly are going to be able to speak fluent Japanese, Chinese, Korean, and English, and are going to have human characteristics such as breathing, blinking, and making eye contact. So they hired a whole bunch of Kristen Stewarts to run the hotel. I'm going to chalk that one up and just put that one away. Last bit of anime in Japan news I have is that Kotaku has an article written by Patricia Hernandez. Patricia Hernandez. It's a list of 10 things people get wrong about anime. A list of 10 items that apparently general populace doesn't understand about anime.
Okay.
The video's an hour long, so I'm going to go through the summary she put up. Item number 1 is that there isn't necessarily a unified opinion on what anime is. Of course, when people use the word, they often mean something like animation from Japan, but arguably that's not all of what anime encompasses. I can agree with that.
Yeah.
You know, anime is their word for cartoon, frankly. Item number 2, anime is not always high quality. Anime shows often take a lot of shortcuts so they can fill the 30-minute episode format while saving money. This is why things like transformation sequences and long opening songs exist.
Stock footage.
It's particularly bad with early anime, which is considered kind of terrible. For anime fans, this one is a no-duh point, but consider that for many people, their only knowledge of anime comes from things like Miyazaki films, which is not representative of all anime. As a side point, it's also fascinating to hear how anime pioneers tried to make anime work in the early days, and the tension/problems that came with that. Miyazaki had some major beefs with cheap anime makers, unquote.
Man, like quality.
Yeah, there is a point, though. A lot of early animes tend to have very similar sequences, whether it be ships firing missiles and beams or, girls transforming into Sailor Moon. There was a lot of stuff that ate up time during an episode.
Mm-hmm.
Item number 3 that people don't generally know about anime. The Western world, in fact, influenced/changed anime. They can put stipulations on the format. They having episodes be self-contained rather than continuous storyline, and demands on how certain races can be depicted in shows. One early anime show, Kimba the White Lion, for example, had Americans pushing to get black people off the show, which, by the way, takes place in Africa. They settled on letting the show depict Africans, but only if they were good. Later, Disney purchasing Miyazaki films also influenced how anime was depicted. Princess Mononoke, for example, was sped up, unquote.
Sped up?
They probably cut out sections of the movie so they could shorten the time frame of the overall film.
I was thinking like they literally sped up the animation.
No.
Anime tends to be much faster than the average cartoon Disney puts out. Item number 4, quote, anime did not always sell itself on Japanese identity, because that makes it less marketable. Early anime was sold to audiences outside of Japan, but only if anything, overly tying the anime to Japan could be scrubbed out. So, references were changed, names were changed, locations were changed, even if it meant the anime had to pretend ridiculous things, like having what is obviously Tokyo referred to as Paris. And remember, donuts in Pokemon. It wasn't until Akira that anime could start selling its Japanese identity to the rest of the world, unquote.
We call this bad dubbing. And Bandai.
Yeah, people getting drunk off the quote-unquote tea.
What?
The first run of Tenchi Muyo, they didn't want to have teenagers drinking sake, so everyone was drinking tea from these funny bottles, and you notice that the more tea they were drinking, they were getting really ruddy in the face.
Mm-hmm. Cigarettes were replaced with lollipops. Rice balls were replaced by cookies.
Yep. Rice balls were cookies. I remember that. That was stupid. Item number 5, quote, violence and sex weren't always a subject anime felt comfortable depicting. That changed with the advent of video, which could bring programs to specific audiences that wanted the content without having to worry about conforming to the content of television standards. Hilariously, some early erotic anime was imported by other countries accidentally, before the world really knew what hentai was. And it sold quickly, unquote.
Wow, what a surprise.
This guy's boobs? Yeah, I need that. Item number 6, and things people don't generally know about anime. Quote, once erotic anime like hentai started floating around, it changed the public perception of anime fans. According to some people, anime is just a thing for perverts, but that's not the case at all. Essentially, people started using anime as a way to be racist to Japanese people, unquote.
Really?
Well, think about it this way. If a few people, all they know about anime is hentai, then the first thing you're going to think is that those Japanese people are just a bunch of pervs.
They kind of are, but beside the point.
Not pervs, they're xenophobic.
Huh.
You know, remember, the word otaku, we may use as a fan word over in this country, but in Japan, that means freak. It literally means freak.
Yeah, all right, I know that.
So, generally the Japanese disapprove of the boobs and stuff as much as we do. They just have different standards as to what's acceptable. That's why all their porn come with that weird censorship on it. Item number 7, quote, people who purchase hentai or erotic anime are not always anime fans. In fact, they're often not. Anime fans are a small niche compared to the wider number of people who sometimes buy hentai. But anime fans are the ones that will take all the blame for the misconception, unquote. That was probably very true until a few years ago.
Yeah.
I think people are more accepting of what anime in general is rather than just being porn. Item number 8, quote, people blew up the Pokemon anime incident that made some kids feel ill thanks to certain flashing images. The number of people this affected is probably lower than what the media made it out to be, unquote. God, remember that quasi-controversy? Pokemon was, nearly killing kids?
Flashing lights.
Oh, I think it was the first run-in of the Pikachu character. The lightning bolt and the flashing effects used in the TV show caused a few epileptic fits.
Really? I thought it was a Porygon episode.
No, I heard it was the very first episode of the series.
I can see it, actually.
Okay. V, are you alright there?
Yes, sorry, I was muted, but I didn't say much either, so.
All right. Okay, just making sure. Item 9, quote, there's this perception that just because something is Japanese, it has a special power to manipulate or corrupt children, or that the Japanese trends are poised to undermine Western nationality. Again, this might be racism at work, unquote.
Might?
Hey. Yeah, I know. The last item of this list of 10 things that people don't generally know about anime. Quote, not every anime show or film is hugely popular. Many are very niche. This also means that not all anime is the same. There are a huge variety of anime shows, though only a few types get widespread attention. The result is that some anime shows sell for an incredible markup in Japan because companies know that only a very limited audience is going to buy it, unquote. Why would you mark up a series if not a lot of people are going to buy it? Well, I guess it's just profit margins.
Yep.
All of a sudden, that explains why the SAO Blu-rays or the Sword Art Online Blu-rays are suddenly going for $60 a fucking set of, 4 episodes? Oh, 6 episodes, sorry. Still.
Yeah.
Dick move. Dick move. From there, we get to go into nerd interest news. We talk about those things that don't generally fit into comic book or anime categories. First off, there's a new D&D video game coming that lets you be a virtual dungeon master.
Ooh!
Sounds fun.
Well, Dungeons & Dragons, according to the story on The Verge, does not have the best history when it comes to video game adaptations. They're coming out with a new game called Sword Coast Legends, which could be an exception. They said the first glance may be a typical generic RPG with D&D trappings, but it also lets you emulate a virtual experience of a pen and paper game. You have a DM mode that lets one player act as a dungeon master and guiding the experience of 4 other players in real time.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, they've tried to do this before with Neverwinter Nights, but it didn't really, I guess...
Well, I got a minute and a half. I've got a minute and a half YouTube about it.
Do it.
Give.
All right. I sent it. I see a bunch of trees. From the director of Dragon Age Origins, eh?
Ooh.
Oh, this reminds me a bit of Dungeon Siege. Except, modern. So a dungeon master can guide things in real time while 4 players try and duke it out, huh? That means you could have some jackass add a bunch of liches just when you beat the kobolds.
Sounds like a Dungeon World. Feels like Dungeon World, but a lot more detailed and a lot less cartoony.
Looks pretty nifty. If a DM has to change all this stuff in real time, he better be a hell of a typist.
Well, I assume there'll be some sort of scripting thing.
Yeah. Well, it's almost like doing the architect in City of Heroes.
Yeah.
About a minute in, it says you can be the dungeon master. There he is. Virtual dice, placing enemies. Jesse, am I right in saying this seems kind of Diablo-esque?
Not the way I've seen Steve play it.
Oh, come on. Steve plays everything, and it takes him half an hour to get started.
Actually, kind of reminds me of Icewind Dale.
Yeah, I'm excited. Well, it should. It's the Sword Coast, so...
Yeah. Well, V, you've been talking a lot lately about how you would like to get your hands on a 3D printer.
Yeah.
You may need to wait a little bit.
Aww.
Well, not for a bad reason. Nanyang Technical University has a startup company called Blacksmith Group, and today they launched the world's first compact 3D printer that can also scan items into digitized models.
Oh, nice.
A combination 3D printer and scanner. It's named the Blacksmith Genesis. Supposedly, it's going to allow users without much knowledge of 3D software to scan any item and then edit the digitized model on the computer and print it out in 3D.
Nice.
They showed it off today, they showed it off a couple days ago at the American Association Advancement of Science annual meeting in San Jose, California. It's going to be housed in a black aluminum casing, and it's going to weigh about 6 kilograms. It also comes with a 2-inch LCD display, Wi-Fi, integrated SD card reader, and a USB connection for instant printing. Sounds like they thought about a lot of the potential uses. It doesn't say anything about how big the objects you can print in this thing, although it looks like it's going to be a desktop device, so it couldn't be huge. The applications, though, are pretty high. I was reading today that there are some 3D printers that they're getting ready to roll out that could potentially put together houses within a few hours. Not the wiring and everything, obviously, but they get at least print up the walls and get the base of the house up and ready for roofing.
Cool.
Yeah, this device that they're talking about here, the Genesis, doesn't look that much bigger than a large coffee maker. Wow. Okay, does anybody have any interesting religious beliefs? Anything off the wall? Anybody here a Scientologist, devout Mormon or anything like that?
I just think the Fibonacci sequence is everywhere.
Okay. I mean, I'm a Buddhist priest, so it's not like I have a right to judge.
My mother believes I'm a Christian, so...
My mother believes I'm a Christian? What? What? Does that mean that's what she's trying to make you, or is it like, fooled her? Now
That's what she's tried for years.
Okay, well, if you're looking for a new religion, you might want to go to Iceland.
Oh?
Yeah, the high priest of Astrolith, I don't even think I can pronounce this, Asa Truar Felagid. His name is Hilmar Orn Hilmarsson. It's a group that promotes worshiping Norse gods. They acknowledge that they're planning on putting together a new temple to the ancient Norse gods in Iceland.
Kick ass! I want to go to Iceland.
The construction is supposed to begin this month, and Icelanders are going to have the opportunity to publicly worship their old gods such as Odin, Frigg, and Thor in a new shrine.
I want to go. I'm going to move to Iceland.
Well, this particular religion, whose name I'm not going to butcher again, it already boasts about 2,400 members actively in Iceland right now, 3 times the number there were 10 years ago. I'm sure that Chris Hemsworth helped their belief in these particular gods. But the temple will actually be able to stage weddings and funerals, other ceremonies. It's going to be dug into a hill overlooking Reykjavik. It's going to be circular and feature a dome top to allow in light. What can I say? The Norse gods are making a comeback.
I'm pleased.
Another thing for people to fight over.
Yay.
And the Marines are building gigantic balls.
Context.
Does it need context? The Marines are building balls. A research team from Stamford, Connecticut has developed an amphibious drone that they're testing with the Marines. It's called the GuardBot. It's a robot ball that swims over water about 4 miles per hour, and then it can roll along the beach. Roll over a beach at an incline as high as 30 degrees at 20 miles an hour. It uses 9-axis stabilization, a pendulum motion propulsion system. It moves the bot by swinging the gravity center of it back and forth. So this is I don't know what this drone would be used for, technically. I mean, I get that it's a gigantic rolling ball. It's multi-terrain, but can it hold anything?
I'm pretty sure you could outfit a camera into the damn thing.
Or if it's, well, maybe you can plant a charge in the center of it. A rolling freeform bomb? Apparently, if they get funding, they could develop a regular version of this in about 8 to 10 months. Production version. That's what I'm looking for. My God, I'm having serious trouble with words today. I need to eat more. Last bit of nerd interest news I have is that George R.R. Martin recently has taken a lot of, I guess you could say, criticism for his inability to say when the next book in the Song of Fire and Ice is coming. And it turns out that his biggest supporter right now is Jon Snow.
Kit Harington, yeah.
Yeah, Kit Harington wants fans of the Song of Fire and Ice to lay off the man. So, quote, the only thing I get pissed off about is that as far as George R.R. Martin goes, there's a lot of fan pressure on him. A lot of nasty, manipulative, quite vicious fan pressure that's aimed towards him, about his health and about when he's producing the next book. I get quite angry about that, unquote.
As justifiably so, in my opinion.
He said this during a press event to to promote Season 4 Blu-rays of Game of Thrones. He went on to say, quote, "It's unhealthy and symptomatic of many problems we have at the moment in terms of people sitting behind a screen and firing arrows, which I think is an ugly side of our society," unquote. He's got a serious point about that. I've actually made it a point myself to try and be less negative on the internet.
Yeah, the internet is full of negativity.
Well, it's too easy to say how much I hate things rather than just actually say what I like.
Yeah.
So I tend to use phrases when I find something I'm not interested in. I'll say, "This is not for me," instead of "This is stupid."
Right. Well, that's one of my biggest pet peeves is when people say the words bad or good without any qualifiers, because those are so subjective. Unless you're talking to someone whose interests you already know, like, mesh up.
Yeah. Unfortunately, though, there's a bunch of people sitting behind their monitors reading that or listening to this just going, "You know nothing, Jon Snow."
Yeah, I know.
It's too obvious of an arrow to fling there, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Last bit of news we have is our WTF corner. We talk about those stories that just make us scratch our heads and wonder, how in the hell did we get here? First one is actually a relatively positive WTF. Anybody aware of Kanye West's little drama at the Grammys?
I'm aware something happened. I didn't actually see what happened.
Okay, let me lay this out. Taylor Swift won a couple years ago. I think she won Best R&B Album. Mm-hmm. And Kanye West jumped on the stage, interrupted her acceptance speech, and said that she should give the award to Beyonce. That was her award to win, and, he didn't think she was anything, but he didn't think she was as good as Beyonce, basically. He laid it all out there.
Broke her into tears.
She didn't break her into tears. I don't think she got into tears, but she was just really confused by the whole thing, kind of off-put. This year's Grammys happened about a week ago, and Beck, believe it or not, won Best Album. Nobody even expected him to win. If you watch the video, it looked like even Beck didn't expect to win that particular award. He got up on stage. Before he even hit the mic, Kanye West was halfway across the stage. And then he looked like he suddenly thought better, turned around and walked off. And you even see Beck just staring, wondering if this is a skit or something's going on or what. So Beck did his speech and he got off stage. Kanye West told E! Entertainment after the Grammys, though, about his appearance that he thought that the award for Album of the Year should have gone to Beyonce, and he was going to say so.
Again?
Yeah. It's a real serious thing about Beyonce. I wonder how that makes his wife feel, frankly. Now, there have been several responses across the internet about Kanye's little actions, and of course, Kanye West, being who he is, doesn't give a shit. He actually had to backtrack. He had to backtrack a bit, because when he said that a legitimate artist like Beyonce should have won the Grammy, some people pointed out that that Beck writes his songs himself while Beyonce has 10 writers, and he actually produces music while Beyonce just sings, and the guy's been at this business for about 16 years. But actually, it was Shirley Manson from Garbage who actually penned an open letter to Kanye West about his appearance at the Grammys and his problems with Beck. And her entire letter was actually put up by DC101.com. She said, quote, "Dear Kanye West, it is you who is so busy disrespecting artistry. You disrespect your own remarkable talent, and more importantly, you disrespect the talent, hard work, and tenacity of all artists when you go so rudely and savagely after such an accomplished and humble artist like Beck. You make yourself look small and petty and spoiled. In an attempt to reduce the importance of one great talent over another, you make a mockery of all musicians and music from every genre, including your own. Grow up and stop throwing your toys around. You're making yourself look like a complete twat. P.S. I'm pretty certain Beyonce doesn't need you fighting any battles on her account. Seems like she's got everything covered perfectly well on her own," unquote.
Nice.
That's about as distinct as you can get, really.
Shirley Manson's pretty awesome.
She's pretty straightforward. It's too bad that Garbage seems to have kind of fallen by the wayside. It didn't seem to survive the 90s terribly well.
They've had a few good albums that came out in the past few years.
You may have to update me.
I will later.
Okay. Also, in the terms of WTF, this story came out just Friday. Can you believe there's a teenager out there that has to prove her existence to America?
Yes.
What?
Okay. With the help of her grandparents, there's an 18-year-old named Alicia Faith Pennington, okay? Her parents raised her in a very Christian homeschool family in Texas.
Okay.
And all this girl wants to do is start her life. She wanted to get away from her folks and start her life on her terms, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's 19 years old now, and she claims to have been born on November 26, 1995. You notice the key word in that sentence?
Claims?
Yeah, here's the thing. Her parents have produced no birth records. Because she's homeschooled, she has no school records. Her parents have never taken her to a hospital. She has no medical records. Her parents, as it turns out, when she was born, neglected to file for a birth certificate or a social security number, and because she's homeschooled and never been to a doctor, there's no actual records of her existence in the U.S.
Wow.
That's some rough luck there.
Yeah, she received a certified letter from the Texas Department of State Health Services dated October 1st, 2014, informing her that after a thorough search, no record of her birth can be found. They informed her that she should apply for a delayed certificate, but she's not allowed before a judge unless she has 3 documents verifying her age and citizenship, which don't exist. She seems to be caught in this weird Ouroboros where she can't technically exist.
But she's there.
But I know, but the problem is that now you're dealing with an age of identity thieves, so the state and the country isn't just going to hand out documents willy-nilly unless it has some sort of supporting documents, which her parents never got for her.
Well, she obviously exists, so...
You would have to find a very sympathetic judge to help with this, though.
Yeah.
And the problem is that the only way to prove her existence would be with the support of her parents, which it sounds like aren't the most supportive people to begin with.
She's kind of fucked from all angles.
Very well, too, because without a social security number, she can't even get a job or an income. She can't get a driver's license. She can't get on a plane or get a bank account without this information. She can't even vote in this country without some of that.
She could get by with help from other people. But yeah.
Yeah, there's crackdens across America that would take her in, but... No, this is a serious problem. I mean, this is bad parenting that's coming back to bite this girl in the butt for doing nothing more than existing. This sucks. Moving on to something else, IO9, Charlie Jane Anders. You know, she puts out some of the funny lists that we tend to read on this show.
Okay.
She put out a list of 10 superheroes who can never have sex.
Oh, I've seen this.
I haven't, but...
Let's see. Should we just start at the top?
Sure.
Go.
Number 1 on this list is a painful one, just by description alone. The Incredible Hulk.
Yeah.
Quote, this one is somewhat dependent on circumstances. In the 2008 Incredible Hulk movie, there's a scene where Bruce Banner is in a motel room with Betty. They start to do what young people do in motel rooms, and Bruce's heart rate monitor gets more and more beepy. His heart is pounding with the excitement of making out with a vacant-eyed Liv Tyler. It's too much for him. He's losing his shit, and he's going to... Oh my god, he's going to... Bruce pulls away from Betty just in time to keep from becoming the Hulk. Yes, he can't get sexually aroused without hulking out, and I'm not going to make any jokes about whether you would like him when he's horny. I'm better than that.
Too late.
But what about the comics version of the Hulk? We know the Hulk is incredibly, perhaps unfeasibly, well hung, because the Hulk gets naked in Incredible Hulk 400, and his arch-enemy, the Leader, remarks on how well endowed he is. But it is strongly implied during the Grey Hulk period that the Grey Hulk, who's working as a Las Vegas leg breaker, is getting laid on a fairly regular basis. Bruce Banner and his wife Betty have sex at least twice that I can think of. Once when they first get married, after Bruce has been cured of being the Hulk, so there's no danger of Bruce hulking out. And once when Bruce gets his pathology backwards, so he's either a peaceful Hulk or a savage, rampaging, puny human. In his Savage Banner form, Betty has sex with him, and that calms him down. There's also the famous scene in Hulk 300, where the Hulk has gone completely berserk, and Bruce's influence is all gone. The Hulk is trashing New York, and Eros, the creepiest Avenger, tries to subdue the Hulk by using his psychic abilities to generate waves of pleasure. He learns the hard way that you shouldn't try to pleasure the Hulk in the middle of his rampage. Still more evidence, I guess, that the Hulk and sex don't usually mix, unless he's gray. As an update, the commenters have pointed out that the Hulk hooked up with Kyra the Oldstrong in Planet Hulk, the greatest Hulk storyline ever. But she's an alien who is almost impervious to most harm, so it's slightly different. It's also hinted that the Hulk has non-consensual sex when his neck is broken and he can't move in Future Imperfect, unquote. That's creepy as frick.
Yeah.
That's 50 Shades of Hulk. That's screwed up. Number 2 on this list is Hancock.
That makes sense.
The Will Smith character?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quote, Will Smith's superhero has an image problem and a drinking problem. But he also has a Larry Niven problem, according to one deleted scene from the film. Actually, Hancock can have sex. He simply has to be very, very careful when and how he ejaculates. In this deleted scene from Hancock, which had the original title of Tonight He Comes, Hancock has brought a cute young thing back to his trailer, and they're getting busy. But then Hancock gets close to his climax and warns the woman to back away. Way up. Hancock gets off, and we see his semen riddle his ceiling with holes, almost like bullet holes. Comic aficionados will not be surprised to learn this scene is ripped off from a Garth Ennis comic book. Unquote. So when he comes, it's like a shotgun?
That's disturbing.
Ow.
More than a bit. At least he's never having kids. Unless he finds somebody with a Teflon-lined vagina. Number 3 on this list of comic characters, according to IO9, who can't have sex, is kind of an obvious one. Rogue from the X-Men.
Yeah.
Quote, poor Rogue. She's got the cool Susan Sontag hair and the leather jumpsuit and the hot boyfriend, but she can never touch anyone. Whenever she does touch another person, she absorbs their memories, strength, and physical abilities. She also steals people's superpowers with her touch. She's tragically untouchable. The sexual frustration is so horrendous, it drives her to get rid of her powers in X-Men 3, unquote. That's kind of a no-brainer, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Number 4 is a character I'm not familiar with from Kurt Busiek's Astro City. The character name is Beauty. Quote, Beauty is one of the members of the Honor Guard, one of the main superhero teams in Astro City, Kurt Busiek's fictional superhero town. She always looked like a Barbie doll, but we've never known much about the robot girl until Busiek published the Astro City character special Beauty last February. Then we see some pickup artist try to hit on Beauty, only to be told that she has no genitalia. None whatsoever, unquote.
Okay, so she literally can't have sex.
Yeah, she's a sexless creature. Robot.
Huh.
That's kind of like some Barbie fan fictions I've heard, frankly.
You read Barbie fan fictions?
1, somebody told it to me. 2, no, I don't. Let's see. Number 5 on this list of comic book characters who can't have sex is just called Various Cyborgs. Quote, at least the first few versions of Deathlock and Marvel Comics don't appear to have been anatomically correct, because nobody thought a combat cyborg needed to have any equipment down there. Ditto for Robot Man from the Doom Patrol and Vic Stone, a.k.a. Cyborg from the Teen Titans. But the hordes of comic book sex perverts are pretty certain that the Vision, the android member of the Avengers, did in fact get it on with the Scarlet Witch when the two of them were married, unquote.
Okay.
I don't know. I would think if you're ever building a cyborg, one of the first things you got to save is this junk. Otherwise, people would just go insane. I don't know anybody who would wake up and go, oh, but you just cut off the dick, right? I didn't need that? Cool. Number 6 on this list is something we have actually quasi-discussed. Superman.
Yeah.
Yep.
Quote, we already mentioned Larry Niven, and Niven famously thought way too much about the implications of cryptosperm. Besides the speeding bullet problems, or properties of the sperm themselves, there's the fact that Superman might cause an injury if he got too excited during intercourse. And according to the movie Mallrats, the sperm would probably tear Lois's fallopian tubes apart as well. Some self-proclaimed experts also believe Wonder Woman is incapable of having sex with a normal human for similar reasons, unquote. I would hate to stick my penis in anything with the powers of Wonder Woman.
Well, I mean, that's why Death by Snoo. Nice.
Not even Death by Snoo. I mean, as soon as she has an orgasm, all of a sudden you hear a squeeze and a pop. That would be horrible.
Well, that's why I think the match of Superman to Wonder Woman is actually, a good match.
Yeah, but you know that they destroyed beds across the planet.
Rooms, you mean?
Buildings.
Hotels.
There's an episode of Buffy like that. Buffy.
I'll take your word for it.
Item number 7 on this list of 10 comic book characters that can't have sex, Spider-Man.
How so?
Why? Wait, no, he is super strong, isn't he?
That's not what they're referring to. Quote, Spider-Man, meanwhile, has a slightly different problem. He can have sex, but prolonged exposure to his radioactive body fluids eventually kills his wife Mary Jane in a future dystopian story, Spider-Man Reign by Kara Andrews, unquote.
Oh.
Remember, he has radioactive blood, and that indicates that probably a large amount of his interior is radioactive. So, there you go. Number 8 is a DC character, Deadman. Quote, a surprising number of superheroes are dead, either undead or ghosts, and most of them never get laid. In particular, Deadman is insubstantial, except when he takes over control of a living body, and his ethics might prevent him from using someone else's body as a vehicle for sex, I'm guessing. There's also the Spectre, who basically is a spirit of vengeance. He can become tangible, but I'm highly doubtful he ever gets any. Although the Ostrander run on the Spectre did get a bit saucy at times, unquote. That must suck to exist in a world where everything's intangible.
Yeah.
Number 9 on this list is one we've probably made fun of a few... No, we have made fun of this a few times. Ben Grimm of the Fantastic Four, a.k.a. The Thing.
His thing isn't getting any action.
Well, wait till you hear this. Quote, it turns out the Thing's hero name is slightly ironic, because it's hinted at various times that he has nothing but more rocks under his little shorts. His girlfriend, Alicia, dumps him and starts dating Johnny Storm, the Human Torch. She makes it pretty clear that this is the first time in ages that she's gotten any action, meaning she wasn't getting any when she was with Ben. Poor Ben, unquote.
Wow.
The Thing has no thing.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
And to look like that on top of it, holy crap. Last character on this list of 10 comic book characters who can never have sex is the Negative Man from DC's Doom Patrol. Quote, yep, the Doom Patrol are the rulers of can't have sex sweepstakes. Negative Man is basically a radioactive mummy who has to wear protective bandages at all times, and, I think, can never touch anybody without the bandages in the way. Similarly, Fuji from the Stormwatch is a hero who's molecularly stable, and if he takes off his containment suit, he turns into a radioactive cloud of plasma and probably dies. There's also some other heroes whose bodies aren't just compatible with anybody else's, like Mogo, who's an entire planet, a member of the Justice League Corps. As a sidebar, man, could you imagine that planet coming at you just going horny? Who can Mogo have sex with? Element Lad from the Legions of Superheroes was celibate for a long time because he was the last of his kind, but did find love with a member of the Science Police who took a sex change drug. Unquote. That sounds like a story in and of itself.
Right?
Yeah. From the sublime to the stupid. According to Fox News, there's a Florida teacher that's been suspended after filming a kindergartner beating up other students. She just taped the boy as he beat on other students.
Okay.
The lady's name is Rita Baki. She's 65 years old. She was reprimanded because instead of doing anything to stop the student from actually beating up other kids, she was filming it for the sake of some kind of parent counseling she was going to do later on with the boy's folks. Apparently they didn't believe that the boy was violent. Instead of just stopping him, she decided to record it. There was also an incident where apparently she used her foot to remove a student who was in her class that wasn't supposed to be. She used her foot to push the student outside the door and then left him unattended in the hallway.
That doesn't seem like a good thing to do.
The foot thing, I don't have an issue with, just leaving the kid unattended in the hallway I have issues with.
Yeah, really. Who knows where a kindergartner could have wandered just sitting in the hall. She's probably fortunate he stayed in place. She's taught at John E. Ford Montessori School in Jacksonville. Montessori is a pretty expensive kindergarten. So, man, this lady sounds like she was on her last legs to begin with. Has owls ever been a problem in any cities you've lived in?
I've heard no, but I've heard of it.
Honestly, never seen owls in real life.
Okay. This sounds like a story in and of itself, but we'll move on. There have been some owl attacks in Salem, Oregon's Bush State Park. One jogger who was a surgeon said that an owl hit him twice while he was jogging through the park so hard that he thought he was having a stroke or an aneurysm.
Damn.
He said the bird actually swiped his longtime running cap to nick his scalp.
Wow.
Rachel Maddow said on her show that the city should post a vivid yellow warning sign using the iconic pedestrian stick figure bent forward at a run, and claws, and a raptor is above it with claws extended. Apparently, Salem officials like the idea a little too much. They recently installed these signs in the park. Now, unless you're in the area, what would you think when you're staring at this sign?
I probably would get it, but
I am kind of staring at it, just wondering: are these people like huge Silverhawks fans? You know, warning: Seahawks come down from Washington and attack other people. It seems, I don't know. That seems a little too on the nose. Couldn't you just post text, "Beware of owl attack"? Because the way that stick figure is running looks more like, "Oh, Gothira coming! No!"
Oh my god.
Yeah. There's an article on Dorkly.com by somebody's listed as British guy. What's his name? His new favorite thing is apparently D&D quotes out of context.
Oh yeah. This one.
There is a list here of about 20 different D&D quotes out of context. Just say them into the air and see what happens. Would you like them?
Yes.
Shoot.
Okay. Quote number 1. The orcs are grease. Now let's get this party started.
Yeah.
Quote number 2. Mephistopheles accepts your challenge to a bake-off.
Huh?
Mephistopheles accepts your challenge to a bake-off. Wasn't Mephistopheles one of the names of the devil?
Yep. Mephistopheles is the devil.
I guess somebody won their role for a bake-off. Quote number 3. Is Z-snapping considered a free action? What is Z-snapping?
I have no idea, but I know what a free action is.
I was wondering if that was like bra snapping. Quote number 4. You attempt to seduce the ashes for information.
Huh?
You attempt to seduce the ashes for information. I have no idea what game this guy was playing.
Yeah.
This one is fairly obvious and easy to follow. Item number 5 on this list of D&D quotes taken out of context. Sir, if you do not stop kicking my barbarian, I will have to slap you. Quote number 6. You know what? Fine. Fucking fine. Roll diplomacy to seduce the goddamn dragon, you sick fucks.
That's my favorite.
Quote number 7. I'll make a heal check later. Right now I'm vomiting spiders. Number 8 has me scratching my head a bit because I want to know what the context of this one was. I cast Wall of Horse. I can only imagine how that wall came tumbling down as soon as it was cast. Quote number 9 of out-of-context D&D quotes. Hi, I'm Vlad and I'm a sorcerer. And this is my horse, Horserer.
I like that one.
Wow.
What the frick? Quote number 10. I tumbled down the stairs to express my disapproval. That's one way to say you hate something. You just throw yourself downstairs. Quote number 11. Can everyone stop overreacting? It was only a murder. Quote number 12 of D&D quotes taken out of context. Roll for sass.
I like it.
Quote number 13. Roll for 360 no scope.
I don't get that one.
It's a known trick in shooters when somebody spins in a circle with a sniper's rifle and fires without looking down the scope to see if they hit something.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
In other words, roll for your epic attempt. Quote number 14. Please, dear God, lubricate the bear. Unquote. I have no idea how you would ever use that sentence in any context. I like number 15 because this is obviously a dick player and a frustrated DM. Why do you even want an apron? Because I'm a thief and I want things. Quote number 16 of D&D quotes taken out of context. Could you please be quiet? We're trying to worship chaos over here. Quote number 17 has to be a DM. It's a hat. What do you want from it?
Gold.
Number 18. Would you say the giant looked French? I guess somebody's about to seduce a giant. Quote number 19 of D&D quotes out of context. Let's expect that nobody's dragons. Well, what about the dragons? Except the dragons. Quote number 20. I guess we introduce ourselves to the wildlife and become Disney princesses. And the final quote number 21 of D&D quotes taken out of context. Congratulations, you're an uncle. An undead uncle. An undunkle, if you will.
Okay.
Last bit of WTF news I have is part of a highlight reel that I found on Kotaku. Highlight reel is where they put together some of the weirdest and most interesting video game clips of the week from their fans. I'm going to send it to you right now because some of it defies description. There it is.
This is highlight reel for February 13th, 2015.
Don't plan on playing the whole thing, but we'll see how it goes.
Best recent clips from around the gaming world. Over in CSGO, this very unlucky grenade toss.
And closed door. That's the worst luck ever.
Oh!
In Dying Light, here's a perfect kick.
Oh!
Look at this.
Oh!
Yeah, how about the drop kick?
Yeah.
In Battlefield 4, Rob requests a ride.
Wouldn't expect that to happen well. This Battlefield trick?
Maybe you should have been a bit more specific.
Can you believe that plane summon?
Also in Battlefield 4, this perfectly timed headshot.
Look at this headshot from Battlefield 4, dude. This kills me.
Someone knows how to lead their shots.
Really?
In this Tournament Smash Brothers clip, watch as these two villagers juggle the same tree to each other.
I haven't played Smash Brothers. What is this about the tree?
I have no idea.
Watch this. They keep throwing the tree between each other.
Oh yeah, the villager has the ability to grab anything that's thrown at it, including range attacks.
Well, they managed to use it to befuddle that poor Diddy Kong player.
Drive upside down.
I wonder what made that Jeep jump like that. The best part is the Jeep isn't done.
In Sniper Elite 3, sometimes the best response to getting shot is to breakdance.
Look at that body go. Something tells me your physics engine needs a little work.
Did you not see that? No. Yeah, I seen him like kind of like get. Oh my god, he was like prancing about. It was so funny.
Here's how to take out an opponent with style in GTA 5.
Yeah, you see this GTA plane flying around?
Yeah, it's a MiG.
Yeah, this is actually a pimp move. Watch this. Climbing up on that helicopter. And ditch.
Wow.
Also in GTA 5, Steve picks up a hitchhiker in an unconventional manner.
Oh, remember that motorcycle cliff we played? A lot like that.
In Hawkeye's game of GTA, this dog forgot how to
Now look at this. This is a dog fail. Just a dog fail.
There's something wrong with that dog.
Apparently,
somebody's been giving it weed.
One having trouble with this dog.
The nose first flop kind of bothers me, actually.
5, these cops are a bit over-enthusiastic with how they fly.
This is sad.
Whoa.
If I was playing that game, I'd back away the hell up just wondering, are they that crazy?
Where T. Condor has created a monster.
Wow.
I know, it's all cannons until it's not. Watch this. Suddenly it looks like a float in a kiss parade.
It's burning itself up.
Please remember to like and subscribe.
It is, but it's already won.
Clips in the description below. Highlight reel premieres every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
You check it out, it'll give you a victory symbol pretty soon.
And if you have a clip that you want on highlight reel, please send it to highlightreel@kotaku.com.
There you go. One machine won the war at the cost of the machine. I don't usually like putting up highlight reels like this, but this had so many unusual items it just made me scratch my head. I had to throw it in there. The dog fails were really weird. Okay, the conversation this week is about the newest volume of DC's Deathstroke. We heard that the character had gone through a lot of fundamental changes recently and wanted to see if it made a better character. And what were your first opinions of the book?
I'll be honest, I really got nothing to attach myself onto with this character. Yes, he's got it in a younger body, but he's kind of still the same asshole.
I thought the character was interesting. I did fall into a trap I fell into with a lot of New 52 books, though. There was apparently a lot of pre-52 history that was here that I was really not aware of.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the fact that his father is this Odysseus thing, I didn't know his father was ever alive in the comic books.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the level of involvement of him with these different characters, I'm not sure if these are first-run characters or if they've been around for a while, like Bronze Tiger.
He's been around.
I know he's been around, but I mean, it's like some of the other characters that were here. I think her name was Angelica.
Yeah. None of these people sound familiar to me.
Well,
I know you've been watching Arrow.
Jericho and Rose are known, characters to be his children from prior to 52.
Was anybody familiar with the character of Possum? Because he seemed kind of frightening in the short time we saw him in the first issue.
Nope.
I wasn't aware he had any sort of healing factor, though. I kind of thought shoving a sword through the top of his head would have done it. But it seems like all it did was piss him off to a degree.
Honestly, there are too many characters with healing factors.
Yeah.
He's like one of 3.
That was one thing that did strike me in this book. There's like 4 or 5 characters in the first 4 issues that all heal quickly.
Well, I guess it's a way to make Slade less impressive.
I don't know about less impressive. It's a way to have some recurring villains. I mean, you can't be that good of a killer if, or you can't be that good of a killer if you kill all your enemies right off the bat. But the other problem is you can't be that good of a killer if everybody's able to stand up from taking massive brain trauma.
I don't know, I just don't like the idea.
Well, the faceless villains they brought in the first issue, I wasn't sure what to make of them, because they all look like they're wearing armor that was sold by Lex Luthor Industries.
And modified by the Joker?
Yeah, all the purple and green and stuff.
Yeah.
Wasn't sure where that was headed.
Yeah.
And I've heard that Deathstroke can take brain trauma and then, eventually come back from it. I'd never actually seen it before. I don't know if I'm spoiled by Deadpool or something, but it almost seems like this particular character, regardless of the young or the old version, is kind of overkill.
Yeah, I kind of got that feeling.
I'm not even entirely certain what his powers are besides...
He's a super soldier.
That's just it? Okay.
That's it.
I recently rewatched the Death Battle that had Deathstroke versus Deadpool, trying to understand what this character is. He was given a truth serum, an experimental truth serum by the U.S. government that apparently made him go batshit and gave him a healing factor. He got this healing factor before the loss of his eye, but for some reason his eye was never restored until this recent storyline. I don't know how that works necessarily.
Yeah. Okay, so the healing factor, so that part from Arrow is
legitimate.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me think. He has armor made of promethium, which in the comic book world means it regenerates as fast as he does. Other than that, he supposedly is able to use 90% of his brain.
Which is a complete fallacy right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as we know that's junk science, but, this is the way the character was written. But supposedly him being able to use 90% of his brain enables him to, as one comic book puts it, see faster. I'm assuming that's bad writing, meaning he processes information faster.
Yeah, Captain America used that line before.
Yeah. So, I'm kind of worried about how long of a conversation this is going to be, but after 4 issues, I am somewhat interested in the circumstances of what's going on here, but not so much with Deathstroke. I'm more interested in Ravager and Jericho, his kids.
Yeah.
A little bit.
What's the problem here? The problem is that the first 4 issues, they They are a good jump-on point because they tell a good news story, but they're not the greatest jump-on point because there's a lot of, it feels like, prior history here that I have zero knowledge of.
I was lost with a lot of things.
Yeah.
It takes almost like 70s comic book style exposition to get you caught up as to what the frick is going on here. And a lot of the revelations, unfortunately, because of the lack of knowledge, didn't mean a lot to me. The fact that Odysseus was his father, interesting, but I didn't have a lot of emotional gravitas there. Bronze Tiger's a double agent. I'm still pretty hazy on whether or not that's actually what's going on in the story.
Mm-hmm.
Jericho's life force feeding his father's resurrection is an interesting twist, but I still don't quite get how that works when Jericho's power seems to be body jumping and, using like scanner-style powers to make people combust.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot of unknown quantities here. And it's not being explained in the best way as far as the higher...
It's all very jarring and...
Yeah. There were several parts when reading through the comic and looking from panel to panel, the action going in there wasn't fitting together very well. The third issue to me kind of stood out in that problem. There were several panels going on where people just seemed to be appearing and disappearing and stuff was happening but not happening.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let me see, page 4 of the third comic. You see Deathstroke and his son with nobody behind them. He jumps into the fray. His son is left behind, but all of a sudden Deathstroke is jumping over a bunch of guys in lab coats that came out of nowhere to grab his son.
The whole flashback scene was really, really confusing.
I think it was designed to be, because even he's barely able to make heads or tails out of it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't just confusing because you're trying to tell a story visually, and visually you got stuff that just, from panel to panel, is jumping in and out. It's not making any sense.
I don't know. The one part I found a bit off-putting was when he got that major exposition dump of what the hell is going on, is when he was told that that Deathstroke needs to kill his father. And he says, there must be another way. I was like, wait a minute. We saw in the flashback he had no issue killing his dad.
I know.
Yeah.
And even in that third issue, you got Jericho, and it seems like throughout the issue his hair gets shorter and shorter to the point where on page 9 of issue 3, all of a sudden Jericho's bald.
I thought he was always bald.
No, if you take a look, there's always an indication that he has like short cropped fuzzy hair on his head. But over the course of the issue, it gets less and less. Start with the 2-page spread, page 2 and 3. You see Jericho there with short cropped hair, and over the course, it seems like it turns to baby fuzz, and then by page 9, it's completely bald.
That's weird.
I don't know if that's the flashback jumble. I don't know if that's bad editorial, but it is occurring there. There are a few things about the book I liked, about how Deathstroke wasn't used to having 2 eyes. He kept closing his right eye when he jumped into battle.
Or how he's got this lot of energy after every fight.
Yeah.
And he didn't used to? Yeah, that was cool.
By the end of page 3, we have a teaser that says that Harley Quinn's involved. She was very, not very prevalent, but she was in issue 4.
She's vindictive.
Man. Vindictive? Yeah, I thought they were turning her into an anti-hero instead of just a psychopath.
She can't be both?
I guess... kind of debatable. The Punisher's more of a sociopath because there are places he won't go. He's not going to kill a bunch of innocents just to set someone up like Quinn did.
Yeah.
I don't even think Deadpool does that, really.
I'll be honest, though, Batman's a lot smarter than that. He knows how Deathstroke operates.
Yeah. Just a bunch of heads in a box wouldn't really be his style.
Yeah.
And yeah, spoiler, Batman shows up by the end of issue 4. I don't know. I'm trying to find stuff to grab onto here, but it's very difficult.
Yeah, I didn't really, it took me a minute to even realize that he had gotten young, because it's like, what did you do to me? And I'm like, okay, what am I looking at?
And it still bothers me that you're 4 issues into this major change, and there's zero explanation as to why he suddenly turned younger. Did his healing factor kick up a couple degrees, or what?
Right?
I'll be honest, my theory is a clone body and a mind transfer.
That would make the most sense, but there's no indications as to what's going on here, and the problem is the comic book world is so pliable. For all we know, some alien came down, had anal sex with him, and left a serum that turned him younger. Okay. So there's a bunch of potentials here. I will say that issue 4 was moderately better, probably because the focus wasn't so strong on the mystery of Deathstroke's current situation.
Yeah.
There was another thing.
The new design on the Ravager, his daughter, was actually pretty good.
There was another issue I actually had. That's what the dialogue they gave him. He went out of his way not to swear.
Well, it's a comic book.
Yeah, but they can
swear.
No, it's not that they swear, but they'll censor the word. They did Twitter versions of swear words.
I guess I can see that. For a character who started out as a standard soldier, he is... I don't know. He's got a lot of incongruities in his character style.
I mean...
He's okay with ripping people apart, but he has no F-bombs at all in his vocabulary. He wants to save his kids, but he's willing to slaughter just about anything else that stands between him and that.
That being said, he has clean language. It might be some weird thing they do with the text. Harley Quinn swore in the issue she was in. So
yeah.
It's like, what the hell? This guy's a full-fledged soldier who has no problems killing people.
However, as you covered a few minutes ago, she's batshit crazy.
Yeah.
Actually, the interaction between him and Harley Quinn was kind of a highlight of the 4th issue.
Yeah, I thought it was fun.
Yeah.
It's going to sound like a tripe, but frankly, Deathstroke kind of needs a Robin-style character to kind of take the edge off. He's so busy being badass and morose, he really doesn't spend a lot of time in character moments in the series.
Mm-hmm.
And she actually seemed to drag something out of him. It's kind of unfortunate that she spent the whole issue setting him up just to be beaten up by Batman.
I'm kind of afraid that they're going to set the whole series up where he's kind of dealing with past transgressions that he's inflicted on other people.
They did during the early course of the first couple issues try to set him up to be an anti-hero. He's trying to do all the right things by the wrong means, and he seems to be aware of that. But by the same token, he could have been working for other people this whole time who could help him with his ethics issues. He's the one that's chosen to become a killer. He hasn't chosen to become like a mercenary for hire or anything.
Right.
So there's a lot of, I guess, hypocritical talk there.
Mm-hmm.
And the last spread there between Batman and Deathstroke about to face off, the way Harley Quinn is standing in between, I don't know who directed that particular issue or that panel. It looks like she's missing medication and is about ready to have her big scene with Ron Jeremy or something. I don't know. I think DC's editorial has gotten tighter since the New 52. They have more interconnected stories. It still feels very unassailable, though, unless you have prior knowledge of everything that came before the New 52. It's very hard to get into this and just find a point to start reading.
Yeah.
So, I have major issues here because I don't have a lot of the background I usually have in Marvel books to fall back on. And I don't find a whole lot about the character of Deathstroke in himself to grab onto. Rose and Jericho, tons more interesting in my opinion.
Yeah, I like Slade Wilson from Arrow, but this is clearly a very different character.
I'd say so. Some of the characterizations I thought were pretty spot on. For a guy who's a contract killer most of his life, it did seem like he barely has a grasp on how people actually interact. I kind of empathize with that a little bit, not by the fact that I'm a contract killer, just because you don't spend a lot of time around people, it can be hard to figure out how they work.
Right.
And it's also useful that for this iteration, they've kind of torn the character down to square one again. He has no bank accounts, he has no safe houses, he needs to find a way to coexist with benefactors right now to get his jobs done. It's just, it sounds like the issue I'm having is the same issue you guys are having, is that I don't have a vested interest in the overarching storyline.
Yeah.
The fact that he has to kill his father, don't care about. The reasons why his father's doing what he's doing, I don't care about.
Yeah.
I know I'm going to get emails just saying I'm still hating on DC. I have nothing here. The art was pretty good, you know.
Characters sound interesting. You're right. If they actually give him like a secondary character to kind of bounce off his kind of stiffness, it might be a bit more interesting.
I agree.
Yeah, but Harley Quinn is definitely not that character.
Oh hell no. She could fit the bill, but he might shoot her.
Yeah, and she's not exactly a sneaky assassin type. He's the one who remarked that her costume happens to jingle when she walks.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if Harley Quinn would not be the character for a team-up book. I couldn't even say what character to put with him other than maybe another Court of Owl's Talon if they can find one, which they probably could.
They're all too stiff. They're stiffer than he is.
Really?
Yeah, and the only one that's remotely got some kind of personality is the one with his own book, Calvin Rose, only because they didn't finish the process on him.
He doesn't have his book anymore.
Yeah, I know. But other than all the rest of them are what are my orders.
You know what? A very helpful character to put in this series that would create some cross-promotion would probably be Arsenal.
Isn't he still with the Red Hood?
He's still in the book of Outlaw, I think Red Hood and the Outlaws, but I think that book is breaking down soon. I don't think it's going to survive renewal. You know, the post-convergence thing they're doing, I don't think it's going to be back post-convergence.
You know, yeah, you're right. I think Roy Harper could bounce off of him pretty well.
Well, yeah, it'd be a guy to teach him the kind of ethics he's looking for, and Roy Harper, at least the pre-52 version, was one that was a master of several different types of armament. He could probably follow Deathstroke around. It'd be helpful.
Yeah.
I can already hear the fanboy outcry of, you know, don't break canon and Green Arrow sidekick and all that shit.
What if his sidekick
Too
was
late. They did that with 52.
I would think you would need a sidekick with significantly different abilities, like a telepath or, I don't know, an illusionist or something.
Telepaths are kind of rare in DC.
An illusionist would be interesting. I guess I was trying to think in terms of a character that wouldn't overshadow the title character of the book.
Mm-hmm.
Fair.
You know, because right now you've got Batman and Super Robin.
Robin.
Yeah.
No, I saw a couple panels of an upcoming issue. He drags like the Penguin, Killer Croc, and several other like C-list villains up into the troposphere just to give them a conversation about the new power paradigm in Gotham. He's basically like Superboy right now.
Ah.
Saying, I'm in charge. Better listen.
Yeah. So, the problem is the Deathstroke character is one I would think that, just knowing my comic book history, I'd be very into. He sounds very cool. He's got a varied background if it's a little confusing. It's just his portrayal in this book is kind of like one-note Bruce Willis.
Not enough dimensions to this character right now.
Yeah, he only has one real character quality, and that seems to be cynicism. You know, I wouldn't need something else, unfortunately. So, what about you guys? Would you recommend this to anybody?
Probably not.
Not really.
I was really hoping when I recommended this that we find something cool and new about it, but it didn't click for me. That's a little sad. I guess we're done with that already. Wow.
Yeah, disappointing.
Yeah. I wanted so much more out of it, damn it. Alright, any suggestions for next week? Actually, no. There are no suggestions for next week, and I'll tell you why. It sounds like a few of us are going to have to get together for the Comic-Con badge sale on Saturday morning.
Okay.
You know, those of us regulars and a few others who also are looking to get badges, so why don't we just record a pod on Saturday?
Good luck with that. I got work.
Yeah, I got work also.
Well, I mean, if you guys are out, that's okay. I got Steve and I got Anthony coming from Mission Star Podcast and probably Brandon, too.
Okay.
So I'll drag them together and we'll probably record something on Saturday morning to, just because it's going to be weird while things go on and Comic-Con badges are being handed out like candy.
Well, I will be awake until probably 10 a.m.
Okay, yeah, unfortunately the badge sale I think starts at 10 a.m. Starts at 11 a.m. your time.
Well, I'd be very sleepy.
Well, who knows? Maybe you'll say something truly interesting.
I doubt it.
I'm just sitting here lounging in the nude. Okay, I thought you'd play with that a little bit, but obviously not. All right. I want to thank you guys for tuning in, and wow. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Please come back and roll with us again next week, where we're going to podcast about our time during the Comic-Con badge sale. Thank you very much. Have a great week. I am Jeremy.
Jesse.
And V.
Don't jerk and drive. Have a great one.
I'm not going to bother anymore.
What, you're going to keep jerking and driving?